Hi, everybody. Good night, and welcome to another episode of Slayer's Hot Sauce. To those of you who haven't joined us before, welcome. If this is your first time to this podcast, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Giselle, aka Jizzy, and I am your host tonight. And tonight I am joined by a guest panelist that I am so excited. Tonight we're going to have a lot of fun. If those of you who know about Slayer's Hot Sauce, is always laughs, is always banter, is always hot. So tonight is gonna be no different. I just want to say that tonight my makeup is powered by Glow Dazzle, which is also a sponsor of Slayer's Hot Sauce. So check them out on Instagram at glow.dazzle. And what I'll do now is take the time for my guests to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves before we jump into tonight's hot topics. And believe me, you want to stay with us for the full duration of this show because tonight we're talking about BBLs, we're talking about cancel culture, we're talking about memes, we're talking about all kind of thing, and plus we're talking about who vex loss. And if you're from the Caribbean, you'll know what who vex loss means. But for those of you who not and tuning in, I will let you know later on what that means. But before further ado, let my guests introduce you. So I will go around my screen and I will start at the bottom of my screen because usually I normally start at the top. So tonight I'm going to switch it up a bit and start at the bottom, and I will start from my bottom right, which is Know Your Caribbean.
Hi everybody, I'm Fiona. I run Know Your Caribbean, and I'm a artist, historian, and cultural ambassador. That's what I'd say. And I'm official ambassador for Notting Hill. But everything I do surrounds Caribbean history and culture, and focusing on bringing that to the wider public for us to just fall back in love with our culture.
Great. And next on my screen is Mr. Doubles.
Hi, good evening, good evening. Yes, Mr. Doubles. Like I used to do acting and I used to do hosting, I used to do promoting. I've been involved in a lot of things to do with the culture. That's it really. Been involved in the culture for a number of years and just still there, trying to be relevant.
I like your name. Does it have anything to actually do with doubles? Because
You know what? It's funny you say that because in the Caribbean community, everybody just associates doubles with obviously Trinidadian food, but it's not actually nothing to do with that. It's just basically my initials are DD, so they used to call me Double D, and then it just went from Double D to doubles because it's shorter. That's all it is, doubles. Just because it's short for my initials. That's it.
Oh, okay. Also, he's a short man.
Sorry?
He's a short man.
No. It's short in my name.
Oh, I know what to say. I thought he's a short man.
No.
It's like way laughing at No, because I know you're not short man. Anyway, that's another. All right, fine. I wouldn't go there. But moving right along. Next on my screen is Kaylee Loudmouth.
Hey everyone, I am Kaylee Loudmouth. I am a stand-up comedian. I am an ebony steel pan player and a mum too. I can add that into, and a professional whiner. And I don't mean whining. I mean drinking. But I could do both.
Oh gosh, I know what to say. A professional whiner. Whoa, we had to bring you back to give you a little demo, boy.
It depends. I could go really low depending on how many glasses I've had.
Ooh, all right. That's okay, good man. Next on my screen is Nye, Miss Carnival Slayers.
Sorry. Yes. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Nye. I'm the founder, owner of Carnival Slayers. And I'm a mom and Jackie of all trades.
Superwoman.
So that's it.
I usually call her Superwoman, guys. So
yeah, I'm not feeling that one today, but thank you, Giselle. Thank you.
And next is Lisa.
Hey everybody, Lisa here representing Trinidad, I guess. Been in the carnival from since I was a baby back in Borough Keats, all them times, Stephen Derrick, everything. But over here, dentistry and relationship coach at the moment, building that business on Instagram. So yeah, That is me.
Welcome. And last but not least, I leave Trouble for last. So Trouble. So influential.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, hi folks. I am Surfluential, Flag Sound, Flags Massban, Flags 365. Everything and everything. I'm a jack of all trades and I'm proud of it. I don't want to master one thing, I want to be good at several things. I'm a podcaster, presenter, host, um, and lover of music and culture, and I like to cause a bit of kerfuffle on the people in podcasts. So let's begin.
Cool. Well, welcome everybody. And as I said earlier on, for those of you joining us tonight, welcome. Whether it is night, day, wherever you are, we are happy that you are here with us. And, spread the word, tell your friends to tune in as well. And don't be shy. Drop your comments in the comment section, because if you know anything about Slayers Hot Sauce, is that we pick up on the comments as well. So this is interactive. You could get involved and give your 2 cents, give your thoughts on the topics that we're talking about. It's not just about us talking. So please feel free to join the conversation and let us make tonight, this evening, this morning really dynamic, because kicking off the topic is something that has been bubbling on social media for a little bit. And anybody who is, kind of like in that space would know about the latest trending topic, which is around Shenseea and her video with Megan Thee Stallion, which has caused a lot of uproar in the Caribbean community. It started off obviously with the actual video itself, the nature of the video, and then it escalated into the fact that parts of her song had sampled another song by another Caribbean artist, which is Denise Belfon. So then there was a backlash. So I'm just giving you the bit of the story. So there was a bit of backlash because people were asking the question, this is a big tune that you sample. I hope that, the woman is getting her props and stuff like that. And then obviously Shen jumped on and was giving it back as well, and saying that, Caribbean people, we acting stupid, and why we behaving like that. So the first thing that we're going to talk tonight about is something called fake outrage, because there was a lot of outrage, certainly when Shen did her live, and the way how she obviously berated her own Caribbean people. And you know how we stop in the Caribbean. We will open my mouth and think, but if anybody kind of try to shoot we down, it's like, hey, what are you talking about, kind of thing. So backlash. And the thing about it is that we've seen where we in the Caribbean have been very vocal about things that have come out before. I mean, Shen is just the latest iteration, but there have been other instances where we've come out and there has been a lot of outrage. I mean, another major example, pun intended, is Major Hype. When the news broke about his alleged wife at the time, or ex-wife or girlfriend or whatever it was, came out and said that he had abused her. And there was a lot of outrage, and people was calling for him to be cancelled, and a lot of stuff like that. I even remember when the Kerwin Dubois story broke. I don't know if anybody remember that, when there was a lady who alleged that he left her in the Dominican Republic on her own, and there was a lot of outrage at that as well. So the question tonight is, is this outrage fake or is it real? Because another example is like the white boy whiner. When he came out and said what he said about being able to teach people how to whine, everybody was outraged at that. And, there was a lot of talk, and people were going on about it. But when we look at and we try to follow these stories along, we what we tend to see is that what I call, sometimes we have a 10-day mentality. So we get vexed, and then that's it. Nothing else can really happen. And then we kind of like going after our own people. So when, people in our community do something, we go after them. Do we have that same energy to go after people outside of our community? Because when we look at some of the other artists outside of the Caribbean and also from other races as well, do we have that same amount of zest and that same amount of energy to have that level of outrage, to want to cancel and involve the cancel culture? Or is it that we just have venom for our own people? So that's the question be asking tonight. Is this outrage genuine or is it really fake outrage? So I will go to my esteemed panelists tonight. Is there anybody that want to kick off the discussion and give their 2 cents on this?
I have a question. To clarify, in terms of the things with Shenseea and stuff like that, I think it was my first question. I said, but when I heard the song, yes, the video is salacious and whatever. I endorse the message of the song that like the video is a video, be it somebody from the Caribbean or not, it would someone else is going to do. This is the nature of the industry now. Okay, whatever. Moving along. But the first thing I was like, but that's a Denise Belfort song. I said, I hope they pay her. So did she get paid? Was she credited properly? I think that's the thing, because you hear a lot of, oh no, and this producer from St. Thomas and all kind of back and forth. I just want to clarify, does anybody know if she was credited and financially compensated properly for that sampling?
So my understanding from another artist that I was looking at earlier on this week, Third Base. So Third Base was doing a live with actually Doggy Slaughter, and they were talking about this. And Third Base was saying that actually it's not Denise who benefits from it because she didn't write the song. So is the writer is the one that has to benefit from it. And according to him, he was saying that they did go through the proper channels to contact the writer in order for the credits to happen. So although Denise made the song famous and it was all over TikTok, it's not really Denise who benefited. It's actually the writer of the song. And according to what he said, it was in order. Now, obviously, Shen didn't help the situation, because when she jumped on the live, instead of her saying that, which I was thinking, okay, just come out and say, well, yes, all proper channels were followed and whatnot. And she kind of tried to say that, but I think she was so caught up in people, I don't know, the whole hype of the moment, that she kind of like started to insult people. And I think that's where it kind of went all downhill. Because it's like people asking legit questions, you know, because everybody know Denise song blow up on TikTok. So people have a right to ask the question, you understand? Because you can't miss that hook line, no way, you know? So according to reports, it went through with the writer. But you know, is this another thing that's just gonna blow over? And was the outrage justified? You know, and you know, in that case and in other cases, like the other examples that I give.
I want to say that I think it would have been nice to at least have got Denise on it, because they're always talking about wanting to bring everybody together. You could have had Meg, you could have had Shenseea, and then the Caribbean woman who actually sings the song as well. I don't think there would have been anything wrong with that. Yes, it's somebody else's tune, but as you said, Denise made it famous. So why not get her to come and sing it as well? And that is, again, highlighting other parts of the Caribbean. So as we know, it's not just Jamaica that's in the Caribbean. There's other places as well. And I think it would have been nice for all of them to come together. And I don't think there would have been that much outrage.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is it's quite interesting, because then we saw a live on Shen's page and on Denise's page with them living together in what looked like a nightclub, having fun. So it's like, you know, it's kind of like, to me, throwing sand in people's faces, like, all you're talking and all they're getting vexed. Look at we now. We actually partying together. What are you going to say about that? You know, and again, for me, it was a bit petty, because the questions that people was asking were valid questions. You understand? Aside from the raunchiness of the video and all of that, you know, it was a valid question that people was asking, and it didn't need to escalate to there, because we could have just be vexed about the video, but people wasn't really, because as you say, Fiona, it's gonna be done. You know, if she didn't do it, somebody else would do it, and that's another issue I will come to. But you know, when it comes to people asking a legitimate question about something like that, I think it was in poor taste in terms of the response. So in my mind, the outrage was a bit justified. I would say that. You know, what's your thoughts, Lisa?
I'm feeling a little Anson Douglas moment, like, who let the dogs out, and you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we just fight for the wrong thing sometimes. I know people emotional and in the moment says that, yeah, the outrage is real because you feel it. When I heard it, I was like, hey, Denise, well up on the people thing. Kill me dead, Denise wasn't the people thing. I didn't realize it was she wasn't. And as Keely said, it's like if you're saying, because Shenseea is Jamaican, so if you're saying, oh, it's Caribbean, you're pushing Caribbean, you come and you sing what song it is, the Carib song or whatever it is, costumes, all this kind of stuff, the Caribbean. That would have been nice. That would have been like bam. You know what I mean? And let TikTok go crazy again over the song, over the, and promote it. But sometimes this is what it is. It's just stay out of man and woman business. It's just it's a similar phrase. We want to fight for them, but they showing us that they don't really want us to fight for them. We think we fighting for them and we fighting for our country and our culture and our this, but it's like they just on a different, I don't know, they're on a different beat, it seems. That's what it feel like to me. Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Influential, what do you think?
Firstly, I would say that the outrage is very rushed, and it's very typical of our people. We are quick to defend or call out something that we see as unjust. And you have to also bear in mind that since she has, as an artist, is also a human, so with a huge following. So you have to notice that when she does something like this, which is an experimental first toe dipping collaboration with her US management, who's made the link with Megan, um, who's gone on to solidify that. Megan's reached out to her from what she was saying and said, "Yo, I love your stuff. I know who you are. Let's do a song." So she had this particular song concept and said, "You know what? Let's try this one. It's something that we can both relate to. It should work." Now, you have to bear in mind, social media, it's in her hand. If all she's getting is attack, 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 and nobody's stopping to say, "Hold on, how is this song sounding?" and everyone's saying the song is rubbish. So she's getting attacked for two things. One, we hope that Denise is being properly, um, you know, paid and
Compensated.
compensated. And then
Yeah.
two, it's like the song is crap, the song is crap, the song is crap. We want dancehall from you. You come and give me a soca song and the song is crap. So you're getting two bouts of attack. Did we even give her time to explain? Did we even give Denise time to say, yes, she has my blessings? Did we give that time? I'm gonna say no, we didn't give that time. As is commonplace, we don't give no time. It's just straight. What you violate? Boom. And especially as everybody already has this notion and energy that Jamaica is always getting the highlight of things when it comes to the Caribbean. It's quick to try and shut it down and say, see, no, shut it down, boom. Whereas the blessing was given, and as you rightly discovered, Denise can't even fully get the full royalties from it because she didn't songwrite. We don't know the full contracts. But again, I agree. It would have been nice to have her on the vocals, but again, can you do the split sheet like that? Can all management get that co-signed off? There's a lot of things that go into the business of music that the average person doesn't know, doesn't consider, and ultimately doesn't care. They just want to see their island represented. They want to see Denise with the flag doing her thing and getting her moment and glory, which I hope she will eventually do because the song is resurfacing over and over again. It's getting the trending on the TikTok. So I hope TikTok is paying her. I hope TikTok is paying her the royalties. I hope Instagram is paying her the royalties. And of course, I'm sure with the producer and everything, some money is going to reach Denise because she is on the production. She is on the project in some way. So those are the kind of things you have to kind of consider and be like, wait, let's stop and take a minute before we attack and bash a woman. Yeah, and also when you listen to the song in its entirety, you don't have to wonder and say, okay, why did they structure the song like this? You put on that thing for us to catch the people, and you know that is the kind of concept that Megan is on, the hot, the raunchy, the sexiness. Then you have Megan's verse because all of Megan's audience is going to want to hear her first. Then you hear Shensea's second verse, and it's better than her first verse. So it's like, okay, was that all strategic? You give her a little catchy, oh my God, draw the hook. You come with Megan's verse, you come with a better verse, which we know you for. Would it have been better if you had swapped on the verses, but then would it have been as effective? All these questions we don't know. Plus, again, it's just a toe tip. As she went on to say, it's just her trying out a thing. This is not a serious song that's gonna make them money back for both sides of the label and whatever. No, so you know what? We're trying a thing. We're having fun with the music. Let her experiment. Let her express her artistry. Not every song you're gonna like. Look how much song Cartel do. We don't like it. You know, so this is the I'm Lighter Day of it. And we could name countless artists. You like every Marshall Montana song? No. But guess what? He gives you so much. Well, Lisa does. She said she does. So when you get the quality and volume, you do it good. So I think it is it's not fake outrage, like you said, it's real, but it's rushed outrage. It's very rushed, and I feel like we need to take time and be like, all right, hold on, make we re-listen, make we check. Did anybody even message Denise and say, yo, Belfon, yeah, this thing start out good? No, we just come and we start chop her down. Hey, girl, Shenseea, you're wicked. Boom.
Well, from what I saw, people were legitimately asking the question and tagging Denise in their posts. So I didn't see. I mean, aside from, so yes, you're right. She was being attacked in two places. One about the song itself and the video itself, and the other one was the Denise element. And when I looked at posts with the Denise element, people wasn't even talking about the song or the video. They was just tagging Denise and saying, nice to see that your song singing. Now we hope that you're getting your
And
dues.
Denise wasn't even in the song or the video.
No, exactly.
Which is right for them to ask. Again,
Yeah.
was it even possible to get Denise in the song or the video? We don't know. Again, another example quickly, because I know Doubles is going to say something as well. Look at the song with Dexter Daps, Call Me If. That's him singing back an old school dancehall song. He only brings the originator of the song in on the remix with Tory Lanez. He's able to finally do that after he's taken a whole year to get the song big. Well, his version of the song big, but he does give the props. He brings him in on the remix. He's in the video as well, and he allows him to have a vocal moment where he's singing the original song in the original way on the remix. So yes, there is a possibility, and who knows? Denise still have whole heap of years left in this thing. Music is a cycle and circle of things. So we're gonna get that moment where we see her on a big American stage performing the song, probably at what's it one of their big festivals? Hot 97.
Glastonbury. Oh, you mean over there? Oh, in America. I was like over here.
No, speak it, Glastonbury. Why can't we see a big soca act, both UK and from abroad on Glastonbury?
We had, didn't it? And Bungie was there.
Yeah, I think Bungie was there on it one year. Yeah, so
yeah, definitely.
It's definitely something to consider. So I feel like it's very rushed, but
I just want to say something really quickly, because as Giselle, you were saying, people were just asking. And I think within our community, when somebody asks us a question, all of a sudden it's outrage. People just wanted to know. Nobody said they was even attacking her. It's just, was Denise getting any money for it? And I feel like within our community, if somebody says, I don't like your shoes, all of a sudden that person's a hater. They might just not like your shoes. It's got nothing to do with them hating or outrage or anything. It was just a question that I think people were asking. But the way that our community takes it is they are attacking her and saying she's done something wrong. But was the question that we asked, was it wrong? It wasn't at all, because we just want to make sure that somebody else is getting paid off of it. Because as far as I'm concerned, Shenseea's got a lot of lyrics. She could have chosen a different lyric. She didn't have to go with that, but you went with that because you know people know it. So if so, we just want to make sure that the
yeah. Naya, I think your device is giving a lot of feedback. Probably if you're hearing, if you could put it on mute, because I can hear myself echoing. So Mr. Doubles, before I come to you, I want to just switch it a little bit, because it's not just about Shen we talking about. Obviously, that is an issue that's trending, but on a bigger scale, when we look at how we react to certain things, do you think that there is a different reaction towards our own people and people external to us? I want to say our own Caribbean people, and also deeper than that, people, Black people and white people. So I put in another mix in there, because we look at when we talk about, and it's not just on socials there. Even when we look at, like, in society and even in the islands and stuff, the way how we treat people of color and people of light skin. So do you think that our outrage is different? Do you see a dichotomy between outrage for our own and darker skin and lighter skin? What's your 2 cents on that?
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. I think we, as Black people in general, I think we look into everything a lot. How can I explain it? We make things. I think, for example, the situation with Denise, and it's like for us, it's like you said, is she getting paid? Does she know about it? It's like I don't really. I'm assuming, like, of course she's gonna know about it. Do you understand? Like, Shenseea is a big artist. She's gonna know about it. And I think, to be honest, I do think, as much as people want to say the song's rubbish or whatever, I still think it's a good thing for Denise, because if the lyrics wasn't in the song, people wouldn't be talking about Denise now. And a lot of people that didn't know about Denise will know about Denise now because of the people that made the song, because they got such a big following and so much people are speaking about the situation. People that didn't know about Denise will know about her now. So I think for her career, I think it will definitely help her. So I don't see nothing negative about it, to be honest. And like you said, obviously people was more worried about the fact that if Denise got paid for the lyrics and stuff like that, that's what people was more worried about than anything else. And like I said, I think that at the end of the day, even bad publicity is good publicity, in the sense, whereas, like I said, more people know her now, so I don't see nothing wrong about it, to be honest.
Cool. And can I just ask, welcome to Super Trini Vibes, to all of our viewers tuning in tonight. Welcome, Super Trini. We've already jumped into the discussion, as you're aware, around the topic around outrage in the Caribbean community, when, you know, someone from the community
strapping up there, boy.
in the
Strapping up that
don't be driving and talking, you know. Yeah, does something. Can I just ask, has any one of you ever had an experience where, because obviously all of you are, you know, I would consider public figures in the public domain in your own respective rights. Have any of you had an issue where, you know, someone or a group of people, or, you know, anyone has come for you publicly because of something you may have said or anything like that? And, you know, that person or people who have done that have come at you, they've come at you with a lot of energy. But then when you've observed that person or those individuals, they don't have that same level of energy for other people that you've observed, you know, deserve that certain level of energy with, you know, that certain level of energy. So, I mean, has anyone had that experience? Because we want to keep it real tonight, you know, we really want to keep it real. Has anyone had that experience?
Yes. I.
Now, do you want to share your experience?
Experiences.
Well, yes, experiences. It's happened to me twice. I'm not sure how transparent I could be on this one, because it will be obvious.
Yeah, well, don't make it that we could guess who.
No. I mean, anyone watching back on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
So, what I would say is, on the receiving end, on the first example, when it happened to me for the first time. Hold on, I think. Right, we got Super Trini back. The first time it happened to me, it was actually very uncalled for, and there was an exchange of DMs that could have been highlighted during their rant, which would have proven that the conversation that myself and them had did not go that way. But they didn't. They deliberately withheld that information, because everything was about clout chasing. But I just left them to it. That's all you can do in situations like that. You just leave them to it. They get their little 5 minutes of fame, it will blow over. I don't think people reacted to it publicly so much. So I think it must have been, you know, in the DMs. I mean, privately in the DMs or, you know, in the group chats. So I don't think it got that far, is my assumption. The second incident that I had, the person really came for me hard. Like, they were really attacking me. And it wasn't just them that was attacking me. It was a group of people attacking me. And, you know, on the receiving end, it felt like it was personal. But yeah, it was just left, right, and center. I was just constantly being attacked. It was like literally trolled. And I was being tagged into stories, and it was really, really bad. And it was over something so trivial. Very, very trivial. And then when I then later found out that someone else had, let's just say it was a repost of something. It was a repost of content. Someone else who is not Caribbean, who's not Black, reposted the same content, and they didn't come for them, not even in the slightest. Not in the slightest at all. And I thought, well, that's a bit strange, because you had all this energy for me. You got all your friends to come for me, but then this person's done almost the exact same thing. And you didn't even express, not even a concern.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and, you know, this was someone that actually knows me personally as well. Well, not personally, like we've got each other's numbers, but they've met me in person. And when they had met me in person, it was like, oh my gosh, you're blah, 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 you know, and wanted to take a picture with me, and was cheering me on and saying that they love what I do and they've got so much respect for me. And you had, you know, there was, it went, you know, for me, when I meet people in person and they realize who I am and what I do, it can be very overwhelming. I take it as a compliment, but then it can be very, very overwhelming. And I'm very apprehensive about my environment and who I talk to and who I surround my energy with as well. So because I'm like that anyway, and I'm quite a private person, when people come up to me randomly and then they start, you know, oh my gosh, you're blah, 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 and you do this and whatever, you know, like I said, I you know, I'm quite humble as well. So I take it on and I think, you know, thank you. And, you know, I take the gratitude. But then when you meet people that come to that extreme, such an extreme presence in your face, you know, I feel like almost they're the ones, if something was to go slightly pear-shaped, they're the ones that will be very quick off the mark to come for you. And it reminded me of an interview that I saw recently on the Breakfast Club. And I think, who was it? I think it was Ashanti was talking about that exact same thing. And I thought to myself, well, yeah, that sounds really familiar. And there was another influencer from the UK who mentioned having gone through the same thing as well. You know, people meet you in person, take pictures of you, selfies and everything. And then something happens on the internet and then they're ready to come for you. That, like, they're the first in the comments. So it's like the outrage is just a bit bizarre because you're the same person who was a fan.
Yeah. And so it begs
that's
the
my
question.
experience.
It does. I mean, go ahead, Lisa.
Sorry, I recently saw Fiona defending something, and I was like, I don't believe she actually replied to this. I saw, you know what? It was bizarre because I was like,
what was it?
They were questioning your ethnicity. Somebody. It was before Christmas.
Oh yeah, I remember that post.
You had to put pictures of your parents and
I think I put a picture of. Yeah, I put a picture of me.
Why is that even their business? I was confused. I was like,
it was No, it was because I had shared something about, now the thing about Know Your Caribbean is that people, especially people who don't know the Caribbean, because that page has a lot of followers from the USA and the UK, and these people have an idea about the Caribbean, like it, like as if the Caribbean is a race and it only look one way. So they only want me to share stories about just kind of like our African heritage and things like that, which I focus on a lot. But then some people say, some people say, why aren't you sharing about, our Indian heritage or things like that? And then, a friend of mine told me how a white West Indian said, I hate white people because I never posted about white West Indians and their story. And I know that's a next kettle of thing because people like to come for me on that page, right? But I had shared something about Jamaicans, white Jamaicans of German heritage or something, right? Because of the whole White Yardie thing. On when White Yardie was on TV and they questioned his Jamaicanness because he's a white man. And then, so I shared some history about white Jamaicans who have been in Jamaica for more than 200 years. So some of them have been in Jamaica as long as our formerly enslaved ancestors. So how do you define that? I'm trying to show like how diverse the Caribbean is. And someone had commented and said that what I'm doing is dangerous as a light-skinned woman to allow these people to have a space in the Caribbean. And I was very hurt by that. I say, me? I mean, I know I grew up at home. I just be the whitest one in the class. I just get white girl jokes my whole life, right? But in terms of the work that I'm doing, and if you follow the page for 5 minutes, for you to come and attack me in terms of my complexion and stuff like that. And on top of that, I would get racist comments. So white West Indians think I'm racist against white people. Black West Indians think I'm racist against Black people. Indian West Indians think I'm not putting enough Indian heritage. And then they have, white British people messaging me and calling me the N-word and all these kind of things like that. So it was just, I just put up a few of the screenshots of the messages I got and then like a picture of myself as a child or something. But I'm not going to sit down and like break down my race and my heritage. I think the Fiona of yesteryear would have felt like I have to explain myself to people. But going on the thing you're talking about, the topic, right? In terms of, do we give outrage for the wrong things? And then one of the things I was thinking about, even in customer service, right? We like to say Black people cannot do customer service or Caribbean people not good at customer service. That's a lie, right? Because if that was true, the tourism industry would not exist, okay? We are excellent at serving white people, okay? That's why they say we chuck and jive for the white man, all right? We are magical to white people, okay? We do everything. We put on the accents, we yanking, and all them kind of things like that. But when it's our own people, that is where the terrible customer service comes from. And that's like what Mia Motley was saying, the self-contempt that we have. So in terms of the outrage and things like that, like, okay, with white chocolate and things like that, I remember seeing him for the first time. I say, yeah, man, white boy can whine, respect. But then it was the putting him on covers of magazines and then seeing him being pulled on stage with soca artists. And I know dancers who can't get no work, how long, right? So that's the annoyance. It's not the presence of white chocolate being there. And then, in terms of people, when people started to question it, right? Not even attack, question. People say, oh, just allow him. He loves our culture. This validation that we constantly need from white people. So in terms of, us not, so for example, I'll give you another personal example. I started a petition, me falling down the rabbit hole of history. I found a piece of history about this person called Admiral Rodney, right? If you all know St. Lucia, the main tourist area of St. Lucia is called Rodney Bay. All the hotels and bars and things, if you come to Fed, there is Rodney Bay you go in. There's the best rum in St. Lucia is called Admiral Rodney. I found out the man was instrumental in maintaining slavery across like the British Caribbean. So I say, why we keep naming the thing? And this is now during Black Lives Matter, all statues pulling down, everybody liking that, black square and fists up. So I say, you know what, let me start a petition because we didn't know that history, right? So I'm bringing it forward to the people and stuff like that. And it got a lot of backlash. A lot of solutions were like, but what's the point of changing it? Nobody care, or nobody think, or nobody know. I just leave the thing. I like the name Rodney Bear. That's how I know it. But then why are you so passionate about statues being pulled down in America and in places that's not your old place, but you're happy to speak the name of the person that ensured that your ancestors were colonized? So that's where this outrage, it's like, it's very selective. And we still hold on to white worship 100%. We are very good at customer service, but it's who, right? And we are very good at having outrage against our own people. But when it comes to stand up in front of other people, because people defended people like White Chocolate for years. And it's not a personal attack on a man, because it is our fault that he had the bravado to come and say he paved the way for other people.
Yes, absolutely.
So in terms of the outrage and false outrage and kind of not projecting our anger or whatever to the right places, that is colonialism right there. And same thing with the customer service.
But he disappeared. Where he went?
So with the white chocolate thing as well, it's definitely like what Fiona said. He had the support of a lot of Lucians on the ground who were saying he was even born there, he grew up there, he went to school there, all of these things. I remember seeing the tweets on social media. I remember seeing Instagram, so much so that when I saw him at Nottingham Carnival, I was like, yeah, white chocolate, big up yourself. And I saw him with Ezra. And then when the outrage happened, all of the artists that were endorsing him, bigging him up, that were his friends, they went silent. They went around him. I'm not afraid for talk, and nobody can beat me. And if you can beat me, God go with you. I'm going to come back and beat you. Anyway, so that was when I was like, wow, look at me here now, none the wiser. And then I had to check myself, and I was like, wait, I've never seen this man in any of the fets. Bongo, jongo, nongo. This person is going to the Caribbean on a holiday, being a nice, lovely human being, making friends with people who are also nice, lovely human beings. He even went so far as to go and integrate himself, in the culture, which will happen. And you go around I will call them name, the Choke crew people, and you learn the dance, you learn the movements, and you come and you go on social media now, and you use the fact that you're white and that you're fetished because you can whine. Thank God you have some little rhythm in your waist. Amen. Hallelujah. The ancestors give you a blind and bless you. Yes.
Can I just interject for a second, just on that point with white chocolate? So prior to, like so influential said, everyone endorsed him before he got complacent and said what he said on that podcast. Okay, everyone was supporting him, bigging him up, everything, right? Cool. He's a white guy who could whine. Let's not take that away from him. He could whine. Okay, cool, right? So on my social media, obviously Carnival Slayers, I have, prior to white chocolate, I have posted guys who are like, whining, walking up and all of that, mostly in Barbados. Okay, and it never got the same amount of love and engagement. When I posted white chocolate,
no wonder why the black man them love the white woman them. Anyway,
right?
Hey, no, you can go there today, please.
I posted white chocolate on 2 occasions. Once with his girlfriend, who is a black woman, darker than myself, beautiful woman from St. Lucia.
Surprise.
Right. And the second time that I posted him, he was whining, well, doing the usual, doing the most. And he was with I think 3 other guys, but the focus was on him. That video went viral. I got my first over 100,000 views on his video.
And the thing about the videos, he's had a few videos that go viral, right? And it's like he'll be standing like on top of this. Anyone who know Nottingham Carnival, the roots, when you turn the corner, they have the bus stop there. Everybody that's climbed that bus stop and whine on it, right? Everybody know it. And then by the bridge, the amount of fellas we know who does climb that bridge and whine.
I never climb on that bus stop and whine. Never, ever have I ever.
Why you lying though?
I'll wine by the side of the bus stop, but never on top of that bus stop. No, I too tall for that.
Well, that's
Give
true.
me a lie. I thought I see you flexing on top of that bus stop. Don't try that.
Hello. Never have I ever.
Why he's sounding so guilty though? Like he just, but the thing is videos of people whining on them like iconic locations never go viral. Now, you know, even I had to kind of question myself. I had to question myself in terms of why am I even paying attention to this man? I was like, why am I valuing this white man for doing something like my black counterparts have been doing my whole life? Why is that? So even I had to check myself in situations and with things like that. But you know, it is colonialism at its very finest, and we like to pretend that we're very pro-black, but we exercise very colonial and white worship mentalities every single day. And I know you want to talk about colorism later on in the conversation. I know we'll get there. So
yes, absolutely. I mean, and that is the root cause for me, because when I look at these things, I tend to look at it on a deeper level. Because we've talked about this before on this show, where we've touched that, you know, what causes people to behave the way that they behave in. You know, when we look at this outrage, when we look at this cancel culture, when we look at, you know, things that go viral, when, you know, Caucasians do it as opposed to when we do it. And again, as you said, the colonial, how could someone who, you know, it's such colonization, because it's like you come in, you see a gap where you could take advantage, you learn it, and then you go and pass it off as if it's yours, and then you take
money from it.
And make money from it, and that's exactly what happened in Africa and the Caribbean. The colonizers came and saw, and in America. So, you know, because we can't forget the indigenous people of the Caribbean and America as well, because it happened to the Indians, it happened to the Africans. You understand? They came in and they saw an opportunity where they could have made a lot of money. And it happens today. Look at what we consider Black culture. You know, how many times have we seen, and this is going to lead us really nicely into the next topic, but we're not going to go there yet. But how often have we seen where things that we have, you know, we are familiar with, things in our culture, even the way we look, you know, that hasn't been celebrated before, but because now someone from a Caucasian, purely Caucasian, you know, comes in and takes it and run with it, it then becomes fashionable, it then becomes mainstream, it then becomes profitable, you know. And why is that? And why are our people part of that equation? Why are we feeding that beast? And this is the question we all need to ask ourselves, because we feed that beast, and it has to take a certain level of consciousness for you to say, actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to feed that beast, because it have a lot of things that I see on social media, and I say, I'm not going to repost that. I'm not going to comment on that. I'm not going to feed that beast, you know. And I think we all have to make that conscious decision. And it has certain things I will definitely repost it. I will definitely support it. I will definitely feed that beast, you know. And it would be nice for us all to get to that level where we could all make that conscious choice, you know. Mr.
I was going to say something. Sorry, Giselle.
Yeah, go ahead,
say something, because Nye knows this. So I've got a Black-owned platform for Black-owned businesses. So when the Black Lives Matter thing happened, everybody said, we need a place where we could just buy from our own. I created it, right? Not many people of my friends have gone and used it. People asked for this. During that time, you see 2020, June to September, I had people using it. And then as soon as we forgot about the outrage that we had a couple months ago, people then stopped and started to go back into Tesco to buy their relaxer and stuff. They weren't going back on the Black-owned platform that they asked for. So the outrage that I believe we have, the reason why I think it's fake is because it's got a limit on it. It doesn't go past 3 months. And I'm a comedian and I talk about stuff like this and I make jokes of it. The H&M advert with the monkey on the top. We weren't going to shop in H&M again, were we? Everybody's still going back. We have an outrage for a certain amount of time. And then we say, actually, I'm going to go spend my money back in there. We hold Black people to a different esteem as everybody else. Because if I go to a Caribbean restaurant and they take long to serve me my food, I'm going to go and I'm going to put it on my Twitter or on my Instagram. But if I go to Tesco and something happened, I'm going to go Tesco again the next day and the next day after that. So I will shame my community and tell everybody how bad it was, but I'm not doing the same for other companies. And I don't think that that's fair. It needs to be held at the same thing. If you go to a restaurant, customer service, as Fiona said, Black people are very good at customer service.
Yes.
Right? But it's one of the things that we say we're not good at it.
Yes.
Of course we're good at it. Remember, we are Black people that taught a lot of the white people a lot of things. So how can they be better at something that we taught them? But that again is because that's what they do, innit? They take over something that they learned from us. But I just say that to say we need to hold each other as accountable as other places. And what I believe we should do is, if I was to come to your shop and you didn't treat me right, I want to be able to say to you, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that, and that's it. We always want to shame our community over and over and over. And sometimes you can have a private conversation with your friend and tell them what they did instead of shaming them. But we shame our own, we don't shame the others, and then we keep continuing to put our money into that. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I say that because for me, I created a space, and there's people that would say, oh, why are you going to stop with it? Because I put my money into my community to help my community for something they've asked for. Now it's not cool to do anymore.
Yeah. No, good point. And it comes back to that conditioning, the conditioning of the mind, because it's so ingrained that, it's really difficult for people to decondition themselves. And I also think that we get easily distracted. You say 3 months, I say 10 days. It has something in Trinidad called a 10-day mentality. After 10 days, people don't forget already, You understand? After 10 days, that is it. Nobody
sometimes it's 5 days, darling. Sometimes it's a 5 days or 10 days. Either one. Depending on how deep the situation is, sometimes it's 5 days, sometimes it's 10 days.
Sometimes it's 10 days, but it just goes to show the level of conditioning. And this is something that we really need to flesh out in our community. Because I find that, it's so easy for us to be shallow. And for anybody that's looking, again, welcome to all our viewers tonight. Don't get it twisted. We are not against, other races. We are not against, Caucasians, Asians, or anybody. It's not about that. And it's not about us and them. And if that's the way that is coming across, please don't take it that way, because we're not trying to have any divisions. And if looking at Fiona and looking at us, especially a lot of us in the Caribbean, we are mixed race. And if you're from Trinidad, you're proper mixed race, and other islands as well. So for me, it's not about us and them. It's about things that we need to fix in our community. And sometimes I don't want it to be taken that, we're trying to be divisive. No. We in our community need to talk about issues, and we need to recognize the root cause of it, and then try and find solutions of how we're going to fix it. So please, feel free to join in with the comments. But I just want to clarify that if anyone thinks that is the case here, that's absolutely not what we're trying to do. So coming back to that topic before we move into the next one, definitely, I think it's unanimous here with everyone that we agree that there is a different level of outrage. There is outrage that is not genuine. Certainly, there's a level of hypocrisy, involved. Colorism is an issue. But how do we move away from that? How do we then take the next step? Because for me, it's like, it seems like we're in a tailspin. And as I said, I think we easily get distracted, because I certainly remember, and Kelly, so thank you so much for bringing up the whole BLM thing, because I remember there was a plethora of Black business directories on Instagram from the States, from the UK, from a lot of places, which was great. There was a groundswell of support, but then, as you said, that interest kind of waned. Some directories do better than others, and there's some that still go in. But again, it comes back to that question of why it is that we find ourselves not able to break the cycle. Because why it is, and as you say, why it is you wouldn't go and have a conversation and, with somebody and say, actually, I didn't like how your customer service was, a blah, blah, XYZ. Why it is you have to put them on blast, and you wouldn't do that for something else that has happened. Super Trini, I just want to bring in on the discussion before we move on.
All right.
Of your perspective on this whole issue.
Well, first of all, good evening, everybody. My apologies. I was coaching a basketball game and it went over a little bit, So, to the principal and the Secretary of State, I apologize.
We're gonna cancel you for that,
And
Outrage.
to outrage. Okay,
Yeah, we
all right. Well, you know what, right? It have a comments box. You could write a comment on a piece of paper and post it.
Yeah, we eating none of your food again.
You know what? You know what? That's the perfect way to start this, eh? That's the perfect way to start
none of your food again.
What I will say, from a cultural perspective, we don't respect each other enough. And we don't respect each other in the simplest form of having a conversation and just, it's something so simple, by saying sorry. We don't like to say sorry. We don't like to apologize. We will argue 100 times over than just say, you know what, you're right. Or we don't like to show that any kind of weakness as a community. Because once it is you show that weakness, you're showing that you're not really strong, or you're not, but you gotta have a level head when it is there's some things, especially where business is concerned, and where it is you want somebody to always be a part of your custom. Me, from a customer service point of view, I have my own business, and if there's one thing anybody will know about me, you will always be greeted with a smile, and I will always be 100% straight with you, because that's how it is. I am. I can talk for the person down the road, and if I have to go to the person next door and say, hey, how you doing? I will treat them with the same level of respect as I have for myself and I give to other people. Now, we each have that bar of respect wherever we put it against each other, and that is always going to be the thing that we're going to struggle with as a community, because people naturally would think, yeah, well, I'm better than this person, so I don't really have to respect them, and that is the mentality. When if it is we just have a level-headedness of being respectful to one another, we will grow together much better, right? And be strong as a unit, as opposed to, I just want to I want to make sure that he know that I'm a little bit ahead of him. Because once he know that, then he knows his place. Or she knows his place, and that kind of mentality, yes, is a dog-eat-dog world. All living in it. It's hard. Things hard, but we make it even harder for ourselves, because we can all talk about, yeah, we from the Caribbean. The only Caribbean country just give a hard time is Guyana, because they only want to say things the wrong way. But that is about it.
Hello, guys, with the chicken curry.
Yeah, that is it. That is it. Other than that, I give everybody their respect in their culture, and if it is I can absorb or learn or put myself in a much better perspective as to that culture, how is that wrong? How is that bad? And then if it is we give them that respect and say, hey, your curry goat as a Jamaican, I feel it have a little thing in it, but come Trinidad, or come to Dominica. Let me show you how we do it a little different, but try it, and give that actual respect to what it is they have, because we always want to push one culture is better than the other one, or one country is, and we all West Indian, white, black, gray, blue, whatever, Indian, Caucasian, we all West Indian. And when it is we go to the labeling of, oh yeah, he's a, okay, I'll give you an example. The one thing I hate to do is when I'm writing, I'm taking a form and they ask me my ethnic background, I just literally write Caribbean. I write in Caribbean, because there's nothing there. They want to put me in a demographic where I would be like, nah, man, you can't just put me in a demographic. I'm just Caribbean, or I'm West Indian, And if it is you want to know more, call me. I go tell you more about myself. You understand? That is what I go do. Because once it is you start putting brackets like that, it makes you feel like you're giving away some part of yourself, or people they're just not acknowledging who you really are. And it's hard.
Yeah, they don't probably understand,
Yeah, they don't probably understand. So for me, and I would say this, how I was brought up in Trinidad, it wasn't a case of, oh, that white man there or that Indian. I grew up as, that Harry and that Krishna. I know them by name. you know, and I will talk to them the same way, regardless of their ethnic. And when it comes to celebrating the different cultures that we have, the various cultures we have in Trinidad and through the Caribbean, I absorb in all of it, because all of it is only going to be beneficial to me and everyone else around me, you know. But sometimes we can be so narrow-minded and be like, we have this chip on our shoulder, where it is, we can have the chip, no problem, but you got to be able to channel it in the right direction and the positive direction and being respectful with it. And that's where it is, we don't work,
We
you
lacking
know,
a
we
little
don't
bit.
gel. You know your Caribbean know what I'm talking about, you know, she know.
Can I just mention something?
Yeah,
Sorry, I do like to talk, which is why Nye asked me to come on the panel. That's why I'm loudmouth. I like to talk. I was just going to say one thing that I think isn't fair within our community is that when you have one Black person and they do something, we are responsible for everybody. That doesn't happen with white people, right? And an example is if you had a Black man come and paint your house and he wasn't good, we'll say, that's why I don't hire Black people again. What's that one Black person got to do with everybody? It doesn't just mean that because that person did bad, that the whole race and the whole community is going to do
Because
bad.
we all on the same plantation.
Yeah, it's just we need to stop doing that, because you see me.
No, you know what? I used to say that to some people I used to work with, because within dental nursing, it's like, you know, a lot of Africans, like Caribbeans and stuff. And I used to work at this place, and these girls always in the manager office telling who do what. And I said to them, let me tell you something. Don't think because one in the house and one in the yard, the one in the house better than the one in the yard. No, because when you go and tell about the one in the yard, you're asking to shoot too. And it's this whole mentality of grouped together because we are custom being. So it's, you know, you're gonna tell on your sister, or you're gonna no, it's a mentality.
That's the stigma. That's the stigma that would always be
what
there.
it is. Yeah. It's the plantation
You know,
mentality. That's what I just call it that.
It's indoctrination. But I just want to come back to a point, because when Nai was talking about her personal experience, when we come back to the whole outrage and people coming after you, you know, and I throw it out to the floor. I just wanted to say that, you know, we have a lot of fake people as well. And usually when you find somebody who is that extreme, that coming to you and bigging you up, you know, that is going to be the first person that is going to be tearing you down.
And that's what happened in that situation. Exactly that.
Fire go bandem, fire go bandem.
They're undercover jealous, you know. And so all of us have had experiences of that, because you're thinking, and you know, me, I'm wary of it as well. Anybody who comes and is too overzealous, you're thinking, you know, I need to watch you a little bit closely, because they're undercutting you, they're smiling to your face, and they're undercutting your bad, you know, the daggers in your back. And that's something that, you know, it's human nature, you can't get away from. But for me, I think I would like to see us as a people become more conscious, not so easily distracted, and really fight for the right things. Mr. Doubles, I want to give you the last say on this topic before we move on.
I'll take two with like pepper.
No, not, oh gosh, Karen. He already explained the name. You
all right, okay, all right. I was just it's dinner time.
Karen, he's an imposter, boy. He's not true doubles, man. He's an imposter.
Yeah, I will take that with plenty coochie there.
I will start to feel hungry right now. So, you know, I don't even want to start to think about doubles, but I have to see his name there for the whole show and try and, you know, not feel hungry. But yes.
So just think about a roti or something. Just think about
No.
You have the doubles then whole capital letters, eh? Like
you know, you can't get away from it, right? But yeah, anything you want to say before we move on?
Yeah, I agree with Fiona about what she said about Black people are not bad at customer service. I 100% agree. We're just bad at serving Black people, are just bad at serving Black people, basically. I fully agree. I've been to the Caribbean numerous times, and I've seen how we treat white people, and I've seen how we treat Black people. White people come in, our accent changes, our voice changes, mannerism changes. It's like it's a
Not
different
one
person.
blade of grass over here, not at
Good
all.
afternoon, good evening. How are you today? Speaky,
Yes.
spoky.
And they're smiling good, you know.
Yeah,
And then big smiles.
when the black person come in, just go sit over there somewhere. Where you want to sit? Just sit over there somewhere in the court. And so I agree. It's sometimes we're our own worst enemy. Yeah, sometimes we're our own worst enemy. Which is really sad. But I suppose it is what it is. It's sad, but I don't think it will ever change. It's been like that for years, and it's not going to change.
I think let's not think that it will never change. Let us try to be the change, because for those of us that recognize it and have that level of consciousness, and you know what, I have a few friends, people close to me, when I say that and they say, yeah, but Giselle, I try and I tired now because, you know, you can't change everybody and all this kind of thing. You're not trying to change everybody. What you're trying to do is raise a level of consciousness in people. And, you know, I think if we just start with us and the people that viewing, you know, we could be the catalyst for change. So I don't like to think, for me, the glass is always half full. I don't like to change. I think it will never change. Let's not think it will never change. Let us be that change and try to engender it.
But at the same time,
I have one more thing to add, but go on, Mr. Doubles. But then I'll add
all
one
I was going to
last
say
thing.
is, yeah, the only reason I say that because, like I said, it's been that way for a very long time. Things slowly are getting better, and I think, like you said, over time it will slowly get better. I suppose, like you said, it's just we just have to do what we feel and know is right, and hopefully other people can just see that and follow and just try and change it little by little.
We have to be the
you never know, we
catalyst,
might
and we
get
have
there.
to be consistent. You
Yeah.
understand? We have to be consistent and be the catalyst. We cannot wait for anybody to address the issues that we face. And this is another thing. I find that we always looking to somebody else to either solve our problems or come and help us or to validate us. So why? We don't need that. You know, we need to do it ourselves. For me, you know what I learned? Creating my own lane. I ain't waiting on nobody. Understand? I have to create my own lane. I have to make my reality. So when it comes to this and being responsible, and this is one of the things that I made a conscious decision to do, to be responsible in my life. And I want to be consistent and try and be consistent at being responsible. When I say be responsible, I mean in every aspect, and being conscious and being aware. I ain't saying that sometimes things will fall and I might fall by the wayside, but it's always getting back up and pushing forward. And I think that's what we need to do. And I would like to see us in our community make that conscious decision that we're going to uplift our community. And if you see something, call it out in a respectful manner, as Super Trini say. We don't always have to rush out and be public, you know, with everything. You understand?
Like when the DJ and them playing shit in the party.
Of course. Well, no,
a message.
You talk to the promoter.
You doesn't take
the DJ understand the assignment or when the mic man, like certain individuals, like when the mic man saying thing and asking you know, where all you from up all up in the hand for the 100 time you're thinking, but what I'm the boy? You know, he ain't getting it. I see some people smiling.
Why it is only on we so influential? Don't worry, it's okay, partner.
I never said nothing. I never said nothing. I just like to see him smile because he has such a nice smile, and I know when I said that he was gonna smile because you see this segment coming up. Yeah, I know he ready to pepper we. You know,
before you go into the next segment, one last thing I want to add in terms of why it is that we are very critical of each other, and this kind of, I think the main issue within our community is always like, why are we always fighting each other down? Like, we always just fight down, very separatist, like island versus island, this versus that, we're always fighting, right? And then I started to understand something, looking at history and how colonialism constructed something. Because if you look at, okay, choose whatever Caribbean country, they have slavery there, you look at the thing, and it was like 10,000 enslaved people, 100 white people. And you're like, well, how is it that we never did something to overthrow them? And like, oh, well, they had guns and yeah, you know, whatever. It wasn't that. It was that they created a hierarchy. So of course, when we touch into colorism, we'll get there, but not just colorism. We're talking about slave drivers. It's not like in Hollywood where you see a white man beating the thing in the fields. No, it was slave drivers were enslaved Black men who got more incentives, like an extra pound of saltfish, an extra hand of plantain. So if I hear you, Kerry, they're trying to say, yo, we're going to kill Master tonight, and yeah, we're going to try and run. And you, and I know I have my cushy life as a slave driver, I get my extra saltfish and things like that. I am going to snitch on you, okay? Or, for example, say you have a whole rebellion and you burn down the whole thing or whatever, and then the white man comes to me and says, hey, Fiona, hear that? If you will help me catch them fellas, I will give you your freedom, because you know them fellas don't stand a chance anyway, right? So therefore, they created this intentional hierarchy. Slavery lasted for so long because Black people in every single rebellion, from Paul Bogle to Taki to all the major rebellions, was ended not because white people had guns, it's because they had a Black militia hired by Europeans. So therefore, from the plantation to outside of the plantation, they created a hierarchy, not just with colorism and, you know, half white people in the house slaves and things like that. It wasn't just that. They created those divisions. So therefore, they created a system where in which we always looked up to the white man as our savior, right? And that to create this division, I will give you that little incentive. You'll have Sundays off as a slave driver. Make sure them people keep up the sugar production for me. So you know how life hard is, and to get an extra pound of saltfish is like a pound of gold in your hand, right? So they kept those things to incentivize us to not collaborate and support each other. And that thing resonates today. So in terms of when you talk about changes and moving forward, we have to go back and look at how they created those seeds of division. And that is very deeply rooted in ourselves. And that is why we don't support each other. And then always, as you said, looking outward for someone to fix our internal issues, because they created that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And it's recognizing that. And that's why I say, in terms of responsibility, and people need to educate themselves.
You're taking up my mouth there.
Just to leave this little nugget to all our viewers and everyone else. There's a book called The Economic Hitman. You could even Google it, put it on YouTube, look at it, because exactly what you spoke about, Fiona, is happening, but it's happening in a slightly different manner. When you look at the capitalist system and how the Caribbean has been left in the third world, how India and Africa has been left in the third world, you know, that economic hitman, which started way back in, you know, the colonial days, is exactly what is happening now.
I thought you meant the economic hitman was Syrians, but that's another story for another day.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. It wasn't at all, you know. But yeah, it's something I think, you know, we need to understand how this world works. And once you know we understand how the world works, then we will be able to navigate through it. And that's something that we definitely need to do. So, you know, we touched upon a lot of stuff, and one of the things that we talked about was how you know, what is seen as black culture is usually capitalized on by non-black people. And one of those things that transcends is in the area of beauty. You know, when we look at the definition of what beauty is, you know, we were told or taught or shown or conditioned that beauty looked a certain way. And certainly when I was growing up, beauty was light skin, straight hair, straight nose, thin lips. You know, anything that was afro hair, big lips, big bums, you know, full figured was frowned upon. You know, I was bullied at school quite a lot for my looks, and being made to feel really ugly because obviously, it didn't look like and conform with what the definition of beauty was. And this was by children and teachers, sadly. But now we see where that definition of beauty has changed. And the features of Black women, in particular, women of African heritage, where they are more curvier, more voluptuous, in terms of their lips, in terms of their hips and their bums and their boobs, is seen as desirable, is seen as beautiful now. We see a lot more, and I must say, I would like to give credit to Vogue magazine for featuring British Vogue, featuring very dark Sudanese models on the front cover. That definition of, and that's such a pioneering thing to actually see that, because the definition of beauty is changing. But it's changing in a way whereby what was considered quintessentially African features, for example, have now become so commonplace amongst non-African women that it begs the question, is there then some pressure on African women to even be more? Because what we're seeing now is an explosion of African women. And when I say African women, I don't mean African women born in Africa. I mean women of African heritage, Black women, having to do more in terms of modifying their bodies, to be that extra. Because what made us unique is not unique to us anymore, because every Mary Jane and, Becky has it. So do you think that there is pressure? Because I am seeing it when, I'm a little bit tired by it now, because I'm seeing so many women, and some of them look really disfigured because they are modifying their bums so much that they're looking really disfigured. And I've even seen African women, of African heritage doing their lips as well. And I'm thinking, so do you think that there is a pressure for us to do even more now, to look to change our look so that we look a bit more unique? Because what was unique to us is no longer unique. What are your thoughts on that? Because this whole BBL culture, that's the in thing now. I mean, everybody have backside now. Everybody have bottom. Everybody have big bottom. So what do you think about that? Do you think that there's that added pressure, and this is why, we're seeing a lot more Black women doing surgery, and in some cases very harmful stuff? I've seen some stuff where, they go to some lengths, and these women are putting their health at risk.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about this topic because like I just going to be bringing a lot of history stuff, right? That's my thing. When we look at a value of a Black woman in particular, historically, a Black woman's body has been the marker of her value. It doesn't extend outside of that. So a Black woman's sexuality is a marker of her value. So therefore, a Black woman's body was a vessel for white men to satiate all of their sexual fantasies on the plantation and so on, right? Because when you look at how white women were described as delicate white doves and delicate little flowers, and then Black women are never described as that, right? They're always very hypersexualized. When you look at images of Sarah Baartman from South Africa and things like that, which is the caricature of this Black woman from South Africa, and she had a big backside, and she became this scientific wonder, and then she was touring around the world as this kind of almost freak of nature because she had a big behind, right? And then fast forward, you see Kim Kardashian doing the photo shoot for Paper magazine, where she was in the garbage bag and all her ass was out and stuff. It was a whole big thing. And in terms of, I was listening to what you said, and you said they're taking things from Black women. You said bum, ass, lips, breasts. That's sex, 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 and sex. So the things that white women are taking or other races are taking from Black women are only the sexual derivatives of Blackness. They're not trying to make their nose broader. They're not trying to make their hair more afro. They're trying to do things in order to become more hypersexualized, because the value of Blackness in white society is to gratify white people's things. Black people are used to gratify them sexually, to entertain them for music, and to play sports for them. Okay?
Mhm.
So we are only subjects of gratification. So therefore, what you take from a Black woman, only the sexual elements. When you see a white girl trying to be Black, all she's trying to do is hypersexualize herself. So now, when I was saying, when we were talking earlier, Naomi, about when you look at some mix-a-lots, I like big butts and I cannot lie, that came out in the 90s, right? And that was such a big deal of a video. Go and look at that video today. You seen just Black girls with regular asses, like it's not this big badong that you've seen, but it was seen as, oh, because it's like, oh my God, look at her butt, and you had the white girls and stuff, right? It's just normal Black girls' asses, okay? And then now we've had this hypersexualized version, and then white girls are taking that, and you're seeing all of these, Black men and social media glorifying these white women who've just taken the sexualized derivatives of Black femininity and copied and pasted it onto their bodies. So what do we have left? So now we have to go even further now. And just make it even, because this whole demand that you have to have a flat belly, but your ass going out, so like that's just not unnatural. So we now have this kind of body dysmorphia. Men have body dysmorphia in this expectation of how women are supposed to look, and us too. And it's just like we don't see ourselves, like our natural bodies are not even adequate enough anymore. It's become very demanding. But my point is that Black bodies have been designed to just gratify white people. They just want to have sex with us to gratify their sexual fantasies. They just want us to entertain them by singing songs and playing sports for them. We're not valued for our intellect. We're not valued for anything else up here other than what our bodies can provide to gratify them. And these people just take it. I'll take your ass, boom, your lips, and then and then I just to sexualize myself. So I have a huge issue with it. And now seeing that Black women losing their lives to cater to these this body dysmorphic fantasies that have been created by white people hypersexualizing us for their gratification. That's my not 2 cents. That's my $5.
Well, that's I think that's about $10, but no, my goodness, just to unpick, there's so much packed into what you just said, and unpicking that, because my mind is just going, and I remember, but there was another hot sauce that we did, and it was a hot sauce. Now you would remember when we had Classic Fresco, and we were talking about that video. And again, it comes back to a lot of hypersexualized videos that we see. And the question I was asking is, are we playing into that narrative? And I'm so glad that you raised that point, because a lot of people don't see it. In that discussion, it wasn't seen as Black women being hypersexualized and being, exploited as entertainment. And when we look at some of the music videos and some of the normal videos of Black women creating content, it is all just that, and I was asking the question, are we playing into this narrative, and why it is I am not seeing, and people are not glorifying the Black women who are entrepreneurs, the Black women who are professors, who are doing so many great things. Even just being a great mom, is a task in itself. And we're not seeing that. So that's one aspect of trying to unpack that, why it is, and are we playing into that narrative. And then the other thing that came to mind as you was talking as well is that you're so right. Just certain aspects were taken. I don't see Black women trying to have Afro hair. I don't see them trying to make their nose broader. That is so true. I mean, I would only say the one woman, that German woman who wanted to be Black, is she still alive? who actually took injections and stuff to change her skin color and her hair texture. And I mean, kudos to that lady. I can't remember her name, but
She was
Rachel
actually
Dolezal.
looking very bad.
right. What's her name?
There's another woman, Rachel Dolezal.
Is that the one with the big breast? She's the one who wanted to be black.
She's a woman in America who's got 2 black children, but said that she was black. So she was
She was the head of the
No, it's
NAACP.
another one.
NAACP she was, and she was doing like hair extensions and cane rows and everything. But she
Oh,
said
I
that
remember her.
she was raised by a black man, and nobody actually asked her if she was black. But because she was at the front and the forefront of everything, they just assumed
That she was. Yeah, I remember her. But I'm talking about the German
Yeah,
lady.
the one you're talking
German
about was
lady.
on TV. Yeah,
Credit
German.
to
Yes,
that
I
German
remember her.
lady and her
She-
partner.
Right or
Because she's
die.
the first person I see
She look
genuinely
real bad.
want to be black. You know what I'm saying? But parasite. I think that we heading down a dangerous path, women. Talking to my sisters who are injecting themselves sometimes with substances that are so harmful. For me, again, is what narrative we trying to feed? What point are we trying to make? Who is benefiting from this? And I'm going to ask the men on the panel tonight, because I asked this question before. Do men find it attractive, and are our brothers feeding into this narrative as well? Do our women feel so inferior that we feel that we have to do this? Are the men driving it to make us feel that we have to do this? Are our men not appreciating us enough? Why it is that we see our men, especially some of them, when they become very successful, instead of them having a beautiful black woman by the side, they have a white woman. What is that saying to us as sisters? That we're not good enough? What is it? And as a man, I want to get your perspective, and I'm sure all of you will say you like your woman natural, and it don't matter to you and all of that. But do you think that there is an element where our men are feeding into this narrative, why women feel the need to do this? Any of the men? Only the men I want to talk now. Whoever want to go first, go first.
Yeah, let's go. No, I was
Ay,
coming in first. So
ay.
yeah, it's definitely a balancing act of society. We know that, as Theodore rightly said, it stemmed from colonialism, white people fetishing black women from long time. That's how pornography kind of get black people involved as well. That's another topic for another day. And also, in to be more on point to what you're asking, it's definitely men's look or desire. They want the big ass, they like you with the big ass. Also, it's portrayed in the music videos, which is again controlled by white people and their fetishes, because that is how hip hop has been changed and orchestrated to now do that. Hip hop before wasn't like that. R&B before wasn't like that. Same thing with the soca, rah, 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 rah. And then it's also the beauty industry, which is not really controlled by men per se, but it's what the sisters or the women in that field, that controlling that field, want you to look and feel. That is why it's whenever a nude shade of makeup is done, oh my god, wow, amazing, there's a nude shade, and then now we need a darker set of nude shade and a darker set and a darker set. So it's women, and this is the fight that women have. You see, like how they say men have the struggle with like dealing with gang violence and this culture and that culture. This is the women's fight, where they're trying to find that beauty standard and said, what is my look acceptable? Is my skin good enough? Is my hair nice enough? Are my lips fine enough? Or if you, for example, like some people, there are some black people that have thinner lips than you'd expect. They have almost what you'd call European or Caucasian lips, but they're still black. So do they get picked on for that? So it's definitely a thing of what plays more influence, and also it's your home environment. Definitely first and foremost, what are your parents saying about you? Does one parent love how you look and one parent don't love how you look? Are they subliminally making you bleach and giving you a certain cream to make you bleach over the years from a young baby till when you get to a certain age where your grandmother look a certain way, your mother look a certain way, and then da 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 da? What do your uncles and your aunts say about you? Are you all treated differently? Are you handled differently? Are you spoken about differently? So it's those intricacies like that, and then you get into the wider society. So your neighbors, your teachers, like you said, the pastor, the bus driver, this person, that person. So if every day you're getting these interactions, where do you go for that confidence? And then also the flip side of it is when you do have those conditionings in the home where you're told you're black and beautiful, you're told you're black and strong, you're told your broad nose is amazing because it allows you to breathe in air more, and therefore you can run faster and you can do more things, and all the positives about being African are highlighted. So when you go out into the world now and you exude that confidence, people want to chop you down and cut you down and fight you down, which then also leads into, again, the colonialism and talking about the whites in the Caribbean and then the Indians in the Caribbean and then the blacks in the Caribbean, Africans in the Caribbean, which is again classism, which is why you'll find, okay, yeah, yes, a lot of us are mixed, but then how are we treated in the grand scheme of things based on our complexion? Which then goes into how did the Indians treat the Africans that are in the north of India that come from Africa from how many years ago, and they're dark skin and they have the dreadlocks and all these things. How do they treat them? And it stems into that. So we have to look at all these things. So when we say that the Caribbean, and I know Fiona likes to say this a lot, is not a monolith. Yes, it's not a monolith, but the classism and the discrimination is so much harsher going down the line, because the white Caribbeans are never discriminated against. Then Indians are less so. Then the blacks get the full discrimination, but we make up the majority of the population. The culture, the history, the movement, the energy, the vibe of the Caribbean comes from us. Naturally, based on the math. So how do we balance that look and that beauty? And like you said, when you look at giving all of the adverts from all the islands, like when they have that Jamaica tourist advert, like with the woman in the red top, is a woman from Trinidad, but she's Indian looking. And then now you have a new resurgence of social media and content creation, and women are now doing things. So then there's a battle. It's like it's like it kind of goes to what Kaylee says, where people are not supporting this platform that I've created. So, for example, you have instances where the women are creating products, creating makeup brands, creating things for you as black women that you should indulge in and use. You're not supporting. Or you're not supporting enough people that do it, because there might be 4 people. So, Kaylee, what you do, for example, with that platform where you encourage, where it's a black market space, I know of 5 of you, but unfortunately, because there's 5 of you, the majority might only know about the 3 because of how social media works. Again, Instagram, why you're shadow banning so much things, right? So we look at all these things and we say, well, who defines the beauty standards and how do you navigate that in society? Because it's not the men alone that define it. And then
but the question is, do the men have a part to play?
Yes,
because I remember, I'll stick a pin because I remember the story of Lil Kim. When we look at the body dysmorphication of Lil Kim and you listen to her story, she was consistently told by her boyfriend that she was ugly, that she was verbally abused by the boyfriend, and that contributed to her complex, to the fact where now she's a completely different person physically, outwardly physically, to what she was before, and in the eyes of a lot of people, myself included, she was beautiful. She didn't need to do that. Exactly. But because of the abuse that she suffered, and it's like you said, what happens in your environment, are factors that contributed, but I just want to know, do men find that attractive? I mean, Reese from Philly, shout out to Reese from Philly tonight joining in, and he says a tight body is a sign of good health and longevity. That's what I want.
Really? Is it really? I would beg to differ. You can
man again. Always man.
Lisa.
Don't let me get up and show me.
Show me.
Lisa.
That's why my body is not for no man.
Come my girl, hops, behave now.
Worries talking about.
But this is what, again,
behave now.
You know why I have to say this is funny, and it's not. It's the men contribute, but we contribute the least because we will say that, and I can say that as a Jamaican, we are the ambassadors for the fluffy them. All of we will love a fluffy. Elephant Man is our champion.
So one
Most
okay.
women.
One
We
to
pick
the
hold
girl
on.
that do have no ass.
Most woman.
Can you be
Hold on now.
ambassadors for the girl who do have
Hold on
no
now.
ass, please?
Not
Let
woman
him
of
say his piece.
Okay,
Let
okay.
him say his
Yeah,
piece.
about the talk, you know, the one on the talk. I'm gonna say nothing. Keep quiet.
Yeah, let
My
him say his
segment is
piece.
right.
That ain't
Good.
happening. We have to
Yeah.
butt in. That ain't
Yeah, but
happening.
in all good. So we champion that, and of course, for example, let's flip it on it. You're saying what about the girls that don't have that? Fine, they still get champion. They still get love too. We can't tell say love them, tender touch them, different girl every day. But
No, hold on a minute,
let's-
because Fiona has a point. So influential.
Yes.
When you're doing you're talking on the mic in effect, do you say big up the flat back gal them? No, you don't. It's always
hold
the
on,
girls
wait,
with
hold
the
on.
big
Whoa,
batty girls
Are
with
you
that
sure? Are you
never
sure? Don't do this, you know. Don't do this because
Why?
it's me you're talking about.
I'm just telling
Remember,
you,
it's
I want to
me.
shout out.
Kile,
Some
that
girls
ain't
that have no
that
batty,
ain't
but
even
shout
song
me out.
right, Kile.
Kaylee,
Listen,
Shout us out, no, we need
That
it.
ain't even
Kaylee.
song right.
hold on. Remember, you know, as a host, if I shout out a characteristic for you and you don't like it and you get upset, I've done my job incorrectly. So rather than saying shout out the flat batty girl, them like Kaylee, I shout out. So I said shout out the sweet comedian them like Kaylee. I say a positive trait because you're not gonna mess up my set. And
He's
guess
a real
what?
sweet talker.
And
You's
of
a
course,
Trini.
no, I'm
I feel he's an
Jamaican.
undercover
He's
Trinidadian man.
Lisa,
I'm
Lisa,
Jamaican.
me over Lisa. He's
So,
smooth like chocolate and us, Lisa.
remember,
Smooth like
so
chocolate.
now,
What's
and
that?
also remember as well,
Actually
you know,
smoother than chocolate. It's smooth like okra.
remember, if your body flat, more time your bosom big, so we're gonna compliment you something with something nice and make you feel good. So this is why we don't need the BBLs. So remember, you know, ladies,
Say it
that is
loud.
why I'm an advocate, you know. When I'm in your life, when I'm talking on the mic, I'm giving you the affirmations, you know. So you see when you play back that mix on SoundCloud and you're in the mirror getting ready and I saying, yes, goody, in the mirror, find the shots. You look nice, you look sweet, you look right, but the fluffy girl, them, me need them strong for you. Come, baby. And if you're marga and you're short, come still said way. And if you're tall like coconut tree, come even more. Right. So don't say it's the men. Yes, we play a part. Like you have people like Reese from saying title that. That is Reese's personal opinion. Remember in the English literature, people like to state their opinion or their preference as a general fact. And you cannot do that. You cannot accept that. Hello, come again. No, I'm not the slimmest man in the world. And I'm not tall. But my confidence high. So what about all the women that go against me and say, I am this, I am that, I am all these things. But give me the microphone and I make you have a good time.
Yeah. But
So
short man that's had the most confidence. They're just saying.
Huh?
I say short men have the most
Of
confidence.
course. We have to because everything is stacked against us.
And the biggest syndrome though.
Yeah, of course. We have the best syndrome. Sweet talking syndrome.
Yeah,
So
I find short man does be like, you know, they like Superman. They feel they can take on the whole short man and skinny man.
but that's the thing. So it's right in a way. Yes, men contribute to it, but as a wider society, women tend to listen to men more. I mean, women more anyway. Because right now, you know, much time I go on social media and I look and I see women saying, "I don't even care when men compliment me," but they only care when it's a gay man compliment them. They no longer care if it's a straight man that compliment them. They prefer compliments from women and gay men. If it's a straight man compliment them, from what I'm seeing, obviously they're going to be the person that don't say that. But overall, what I'm seeing now, I'm like, hold on, since when that occur?
Okay, can I chime in real quick?
No. John Bean, yes.
Okay.
And then doubles after you.
Very quickly. For one, gay men and other women are not going to can't give me the thing. Okay. So therefore, straight men's opinions are very much important. Okay.
To you specifically, but the general consensus is different.
Listen, no, don't get me wrong, because if a woman compliments me or gay man compliments me, I know it's genuine. It's not because they're trying to get something from me. They say it because they mean it, right? But the opinion of straight men, of course, does matter to me to some regard, especially if, say, I'm a single woman or whatever. But aside from that, when you're saying that men that we don't listen, okay, let's look at popular culture, things that influence us and stuff like that. It's a male-dominated society, okay? If I'm watching Burna Boy's latest video, is a song I hear on the radio 25 million times, and I've watched the music video, and there's a certain type of woman in that music video, that image is playing in my head sometimes when I hear the song, okay? Then I open Instagram, I see, I don't know, I watch a movie, I see this actor, he's a black actor, he looks good, I admire him in some regard. I Google him. There's his white wife. Okay. Or then I open Instagram. I see some, I don't know, podcaster, influencer, whatever. And he show himself with a woman, and it's a certain type of woman. So all of these things are showing me us when you align yourself with people who are successful or of influence or that you aspire to, they align themselves with a certain type of woman who either be light skinned or have long hair, or she have a thing or whatever. So therefore, when you're looking at societal aspirations, I'm looking at these men, these straight men, and what they align themselves when they reach a certain level. So therefore, those opinions and those things are going to make a difference to me. If I'm watching a music video and everyone thinks it's the best music video, and you're singing, you hear it over and over and over, you seeing the same type of woman in these videos. So therefore, it's going to make me think I am inadequate.
Fine. Good. Keep that there now. So there's two things to that. One, and it happens the other way as well for the women. One, for the men, you almost, when you get to a certain level, the kind of women you meet, different. Also, the race of those women becomes the same, and that is purposeful. The black women not getting that same opportunity, are very few are. Very few are. And then it also works the other way. The successful black women not getting to talk to the successful black men, because then it's the most of the in some industries, or they're just internal vision. So it's the battle is coming in from so many different angles and ways. But also, I'm gonna use myself again. Why is it I can see all these people on the TV, all the women, I never seen the woman them in the video I pick up the fat man? So do I now go and kill myself and go on a diet?
Rick Ross is having 45 million women clapping their ass for him. What you mean?
I said the woman artists them, I don't see them put no fat man in the music video and say I want a fat man. Every music video is they want a tall, dark-skinned henchman with the V. So me not have the V, I have the B. So why is
that V is important?
You don't have the six-pack, you want pack.
That V.
That V squared, but that V squared. Don't worry, the V squared. Don't worry.
It's all about your mental state as well. Because at some point, hey, we're adults, we're grown. You have to take charge of your own emotions and how you see the world and how you feel about yourself.
Hey. Can I back that up as well? So influential, you're absolutely right. Because you know why, right? As black women, we would relax our hair. We have a black daughter. She doesn't look like us because her hair ain't relaxed. That already is sending a message that your hair is different to mine. Why is that? Oh, I'm going to camera your hair and put beads in it because it's going to look really nice. But mommy, you don't have hair like mine. I don't think that that's a positive message that we're sending to our children. I've got natural hair now. I didn't before. It was relaxed. It had different colors and stuff. I've got a son, which is okay. But if I had a daughter, I would try to imitate the hair that I give her as what I give to myself. If we're going to do extensions, let's both do it. Because a lot of the time, there's a woman that's wearing wigs, weaves, everything, and her daughter's not even seeing what she's supposed to look like by her mum in her house. Growing up, I've got a cousin under me, Coolie. So she's got, I don't even know if we're allowed to use the word Coolie anymore, Indian, Jamaican. Yeah? So she had the long hair. So in family weddings and stuff, she was chosen. That made me feel some type of way because even though we were both the same complexion, my hair wasn't long enough to be in that. So I grew up having that insecurity. And people don't realize stuff like that it's all right, I'm seeing video vixens and stuff, but it started way before I even started watching MTV. It started from the household and it started from the family. And we're not even taking it deep there to understand that starting from you are a young child and you are seeing people. Do you know what I mean? So that was
and remember as well.
Also to say sorry for boys as well, because
Yeah.
you have
Yes.
a son. I
You
have
have
a
to do
son as
that.
well. They
Yeah.
go through the same complex. And
Yes.
for me personally, with my son, I mean, my son came to me and said he wanted a particular hairstyle. And I asked him, and even my eldest daughter asked him, but why you want that hairstyle? Because the area where I live, it's 99% Caucasian, English Caucasian. So obviously he sticks out like a sore thumb in the school. And you know, they have even at a very young age, and it's so sad that you know in our society that our children have to go through this, because the type of hairstyle that he wanted, you know, we would consider a Caucasian style, you know,
And
because
that is
all
what
of
the
his
footballers
friends
go
are,
through as well.
well, and this is the thing, and it comes back
You're
to your
talking
point
about the perm, yeah, so,
influential.
and then you have the skin fade back there, so yeah.
Yeah, of
And then, yeah,
course. Of course. You know, look, it had a time, something that broke my heart, where my youngest child came to me and asked me why it is she wasn't white. And for me to try and explain that and break that down for her is something that I had to prepare. I wasn't prepared for, you know, because how do you explain that? And how do you explain to her, mommy, why is your hair different, or why is your complexion different to mine?
right.
You know, and is all of these things that we have to deal with. And you know, that's what I'm saying, there's so much for us to unpick as a community, you know,
Let me even
that we need to.
quickly say this as well, because going back to the school thing, because we have the three men here, yeah. So we have Super Trini with the dreads, me with the high top, and then Doubles with the low fade.
Mhm.
I'm sure if I ask all of us to recall, Super Trini, did you go to school in the UK?
I went to college here. I didn't go to
All
primary
right, so
school and
it's
secondary
all
school.
right.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
for
a
me,
little bit different.
but I worked in schools for over 10 years. So
Right. So you can
my
probably address my point. Yeah. So what I'm going to say now is, in terms of the boys as well, is that even now some of the schools still try to do it. They still try to police how you look, how you identify yourself. By the boys can't have canos, the boys can't have dreads, the boys can't have afro anymore. So that is already sending a message. So the school is doing that. Remember, your kids spend most time in school. So Doubles, come in and give your piece in that. Did you experience that in school? And then also, did you see that same indoctrination and racial profiling happening to the girls in school? Let me know if that happened to you as well,
You
bro.
know what? To be honest, in my school, it wasn't really like that. To be honest, because remember, it's like I feel like that's more a later thing. So like obviously, when my son was going to school, he had that problem. When I was going to school, they wasn't bothered about haircuts and stuff like that. I think that's more a thing as of more lately. But back to the whole women with BBLs and big breasts and back. And the question was asked, is it to do with men? Do women do it for men? I think women do it for their own insecurities. That's my opinion. I don't think they do it for men. They do it for their own insecurities. In the sense whereas they will see other women. Women watch women. Women love to watch women. You will go out with a woman and a woman's looking at another woman. She'll look at her for 10 seconds and she could tell you what she's got on from her foot to her head. Do you understand? Women watch women, and women will be out and they will see other women with big backs and they'll be like, oh, I want that. Not because they feel like men like it, because they think it looks good on another woman. So they thinking, oh, I want to go and do that. I want to get my lips done because I've seen other women with their lips done. I think it's just more to do your own insecurities. I don't feel like they're doing it because of men, because them same women would have been getting men their whole life prior to getting their surgery, and they will still get men after getting their surgery. So it's not doing it to get men. They're doing it just because they're insecure and it makes them feel better to go out knowing they've got it done.
Yes, I know, because a lot of people are on Instagram selling their body image for the attention of men. So you say it's not to do with men, but it's to do with attention, because you know why? I can put up a picture today and I could get 200 likes on it and I'm fully clothed. But if I put on a bikini picture or something and my body's looking a bit bigger, I'm going to get more likes from it. That is attention that is making me say the opposite sex think that I'm more attractive like this, and that will make me feel more insecure to then do it. So yes, it still does go back to men and how we look at how men see us.
Yeah, and then also in terms of lyrics, like in terms of when you just listen to lyrics, it's the way like how women are spoken about in music, right? And music is we don't realize how impactful music is. And it would take me two seconds to pull up a whole plethora of lyrics. Like even like when I was looking at in terms of colorism and stuff, I was doing some research on colorism and things Kanye West said, Childish Gambino said, this one rapper say he'll never sleep with a woman who's darker skinned than him. It's a whole bunch of things, but that's a separate topic. But in terms of how women's bodies are spoken about, right? That in itself, and we listen to it all the time. So yes, in terms of most women watch other women out of admiration, not out of jealousy or things like, I like what she wearing. I want to get that. And then like you try and see how you can apply it to yourself, because it's more out of admiration, not because we are jealous or anything like that. And I don't essentially think that other women feel insecure by seeing the beauty of another woman. Most of the times we admire them. And then it's the insecurities are more impactful by the things men say, because men's words are very, very powerful.
But how are they supposed to know every woman's insecurities?
No,
There's some point. There has to be a point where we have to take responsibility for our own mindset and our own shit. Yeah, no man can make me feel no how.
Just I beat that out.
It could be in a moment, and it could be like, and then you have to check yourself and really remember who the F you is.
It's both, exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So I know just some people weaker, some people stronger, some people have different beliefs. Everybody have insecurities, but we cannot keep saying that other people making us feel this way. We choose.
That's the point I was trying to make.
Yes.
I wasn't saying
when I put on weight, when I
Yeah.
decide to go and train and do my training for months and have a summer body, whether my ass getting big,
You're
whether
taking
my
my
ass
belly as it is.
listen, I wear anything how I want it, whenever, whether it have fat on the side here, so whether it ain't have fat, whether I slim down, whether what. I don't have
Now,
time
wearing a
with
string
no man.
vest too.
They love handles. They love handles.
No, you know what?
They
We
love
as women,
handles,
we
the
can't
stretch
keep
marks, the everything.
Yeah.
everything. We
I've
can't
20,
keep
one
saying
for each year of
we
my
can't
life.
keep saying as our men, because they can't know all our insecurities all the time, every day, all week.
Well, we
all
wasn't
month,
we
all
wasn't
year.
saying that is all
And
them.
also,
It's saying that
just to add,
part
also,
of the narrative.
yes, but
Well,
also
yeah.
we play such a bigger part as well
It's their
in
words.
preaching and saying, "Yo, we love it as it is. Love you like a fresh vegetable."
But they're not listening to those guys.
No, because those guys are not in the majority. That's the thing.
No,
Those
that's
guys
not
are in the
true.
minority.
That's not true. That's not true. Also, again, is that what I said to you is that what I said to you in the last Slayer Saucy thing, talk podcast episode, yeah? What controls the mechanism? Who is controlling the narrative?
No, that's true.
Who is controlling the narrative? And then, like Fiona said, is the music. And I said it the last time with T-Bone and the dancehall and with Vibes Cartel and with Chronics and so on. Chronics has sampled a song, Rocksteady song. His song is called Majesty. He's big up the woman. That song is so big, but it doesn't get the most reaction at his concert, and it's my favorite Chronics song. It's the same thing. The conscious cultural musics or derivatives of the genres in our culture are there, but they don't get the same love, and it's because it's how it's engineered and again controlled. Let's look at hip hop, biggest genre in the world, we can say, yeah. There's a team of people, there's a set of people that control that narrative, and they've come together and said, "This is how we want this music to be absorbed and digested and taken in, and how we want it to work, and how we want it to fit into our agenda of getting these young people to go into a life of criminality and hearing this music." Yes, it doesn't impact all of us, but it impacts somebody. Different stigmas, different things influence other people differently. So again, look at me on the mic. Kaylee mentioned, said, "Oh, if I don't big up the flat batty girl, I might big up this girl." I could say something on the mic. It don't impact it the same as a Super Trini come and say, "Hey," in his Trini accent, "You're real up." "Oh my God." We said the same thing, but it's how you observe it differently.
Well, it's a different thing. It's a different thing when it anyway.
You understand? So it's important that we
No,
appreciate
good
that.
point.
Listen, when and it's just you're asking the men what the men think. Yes, our voices matter, but hey, want to appreciate and listen to the women's voices more because as well of how men have been conditioned and trained to hypersexualize women as well and talk down women and see women as this and that. So now, as a cocoon of defense, you don't really care for what the men say because you know, oh, you just say like you want sex me, you want this, you want that, but okay, when I don't say it or when I say it a different way, you don't appreciate it. But if a woman said the same thing to say, yeah, girl, your ass looking fat, and she slap your ass, that's not an abusive thing. But if me as the man say, hey, girl, your body look good, you dirty nasty boy, don't touch me.
That's abuse. Just before
Yeah.
we think, I just want to stick these 2 points
You
before I
ready for me,
forget.
Giselle? I ain't saying nothing yet, eh?
No, I know you're coming. I come to you, but I just
I
want to
line up already.
with the music, right? And I want to bring it back into the Caribbean and to soca music because we talk, you know, you touch on hip hop and that kind of thing. And when we look at soca music, you know, we find that is not controlled like how hip hop is. And do we therefore have an opportunity to steer our soca music in a certain direction? You know, because like, you know, one of the biggest tunes that was in the Caribbean was Roly Poly by Mr. Killer. You know, I want that fat girl. And it was big and it was nice because it was empowering for
Kill me dead. I was fat that time, man. Kill me
of
dead.
course,
I
but
was all fat. Yeah, it was a whole
Roly
roly poly for
Poly.
that song.
Yeah. No, I proper when he say fat girl, I say
My
yeah.
point
You
proven.
understand?
My
You
point
know,
proven.
nice with all my roles
My
and
point
everything.
proven.
You know, so I think we have an opportunity in the Caribbean for our music, soca music, definitely to, because it's not controlled like how other genres are, you know, for us to preserve that. I wanted to make that point, and I think that we have an opportunity and therefore call of action to all the artists to, you know, take that level of responsibility where our music is concerned. And then the other point I wanted to raise is something else you said. Oh gosh, it was the music. Or do you think that the environment, I know you talk about it, but sometimes when I watch American TV, right? And shout out to everybody who is tuned in from America. I mean, we have Reese from Philly, and you know, we might have other people, but I find when I watch American TV, like, especially like I don't like to watch the reality shows, but others dip in from time to time just to see what's happening and how people are thinking. But with those shows, they tend to be very superficial because like, and they have so many shows that are superficial like that. So when you watch the Real Housewives of Atlanta, this one, that one, that one, you watch Tattoo Ink, you watch this thing, that thing, it's all about body, boobs,
It's
you know,
tattoo ink,
what,
you say?
all of that sort of stuff. So do you think, and then when you look on social media now, it's like it have a plethora. Do you feel that that is playing into women feeling the pressure now to then go and have these things?
I
I
think
mean, we
that's
don't want
American
to get this
culture,
one
though.
and but do you
Super
think that
Trini,
has something to do with it as well?
please.
That's American culture.
Super Trini, please answer, and then Mr. Doubles as well, and then the ladies
Yes,
answer.
yeah.
I want to answer, but I want to first say that it has real upset me when I see women have to fight so hard to just believe that they're beautiful, believe that they're worthy as they are. And me and I was talking about this earlier on this week. You know, she only called me for 5 minutes, so we still on the phone for almost 2 hours. It disappoints me because we collectively don't empower enough. We will press the like button so easily, or we will just put a little emoji, but we won't put anything written. We won't express anything that would uplift that person. And the difficult thing about that is when it is somebody put a picture up with a filter, you don't know if that's the person. You don't know who they are. And if it is, that's where it is. Somebody will take 100 pictures of themselves and post one because they feel that that's the best version of themselves. And then when they post that picture, they will still add another layer on top of it. So then we as men, we will be sitting down there thinking, well, how are I negotiating through all of that? how am I then going to look at you and be, yeah, in that moment, in that frame, yeah, you're looking good. But is that you? Is that really you? Is that who you really are?
Does it matter though? Does it matter?
It does. To me, personally, it does. Because I'm looking at you as an individual. I'm not looking at you as if it is a coloring book. You understand? Because if I do, then I will just take wherever is there and be like, okay, that's it. If I bounce you up on the street and you look nothing like how it is you look there, I have to question myself, and then I'm going to have to question you because I'll say something wrong with my eye.
Yeah, but if you bounce up the person on the street, you ain't gonna know who it is because if they look so different, so you just pass them straight.
So this is what I'm saying. So when it is I meet people in person, I talk to people. Like when I talk to Fiona and Nai and Giselle and thing, and Lisa when I see her because she does real height. But we'll leave that for another day. You know, women don't raise each other up enough. They will look at each other, as Mr. Doubles would say, right? And they will compliment somebody. Yeah, you're looking real nice. But at the same time, they're taking notes to say, I wonder if I could look just as nice if it is I do this or I do that. You know, when it is, that takes away the genuine feeling that when it is you give somebody a compliment, that then when you look at yourself, say, you know what? If it is I can give that compliment outwards, I should be able to give 2 or 3 inwards. And then if it is you give that compliment to yourself first, you're raising your self-esteem within yourself before you walk out the house. And however it is you're looking, you're raising that self-esteem within yourself so that when it is you step outside, if somebody says, or let me not say somebody, when a man says, you know what, you don't have enough for me, you know. As a woman, we need to, you all need, saying we because I'm thinking in the Caribbean and cultural sense, we need to empower each other to raise each other up with the mentality of no matter how it is you may be looking on the outside, you gotta find that belief that you're beautiful from inside. And if it is you go and do an operation on your bam bam, on your breasts, on to slim down your waistline or whatever, you gotta question, how is it gonna make me feel inside if somebody says something negative about what it is I've just done? Because you can't take it away. If you go and do it, you cannot take it away. Because if you take it away, you're putting more stress on your body and you can lose your life. Just the other day, a girl just lost her life because she just went for a tummy tuck. You know? So with what Giselle was asking in terms of how much further women have to go, I think it's just the education, and especially with the younger generation. If older women, like the older generation, tries to be a little bit more supportive and say, hey, you don't need to put on all of the eye wigs all the time. You know, you don't have to change your hair or have a full frontal every week, you know, in order to make an impression. Be natural, be as you are, and it will show that there's contrast with you as an individual, and there's nothing wrong with dressing up. You understand? But if it is you're dressing up to put on a bravado and say, well, yeah, I just want to look this way when I'm out, but then you have to then question who you are when you're inside your own house. That's the gap that has to be bridged when it comes to women and especially wanting to do operations on their body. And for us as men, loosely we just condone it. Let's be real. Loosely, we just condone it. We just be like, way boy, look how she mama looking at boy. And then you go look and see Jennifer, and Jennifer, how you could compare Jennifer to
back straight like a joking.
Yeah, look, watch that and watch that. But then when it is, you know, you're looking at Jennifer and you're trying to figure, well, how can Jennifer improve on Giselle? You know? We naturally would do it. You know, because we naturally would want to compare each other, and we got to be real about it. But the difference is, if it is you then go to Jennifer and bring Jennifer down even more, she's going to turn and say, well, who is he looking at? Oh, he's looking at Giselle. So then Jennifer is going to have the mentality that I need to go and look more like Giselle in order for him to look in my direction. You know? And it's something that for young people especially, and working with young people, social media is so fast. Everything is so quick, right? That they can't even have a conversation about it before somebody has changed their hairstyle, change their whole look. You understand me? Because everything is so fast. But for we, the older generation, who can articulate ourselves a little better when it is we're going to talk to somebody or have a conversation, there's much more than just what you're seeing in front of you. That is it. We want to get a little bit more substance. But for a younger person, when they just see what they're seeing, and they say, nah, I don't like that. Swipe left. I don't like that. Swipe left. I don't like that. Swipe left. Because it doesn't give them what it is they're looking for in the masses. And it's always going to be a struggle, especially for women of today. It's always going to be a struggle for you all. And it has really upset me. It has really upset me, especially with, I'll give an example. When you was talking about the hair. My niece, she had dreadlocks. My sisters, my whole sisters, they all had dreadlocks. All my nieces had dreadlocks. Now only one of them have dreadlocks. Because the eldest one, she was getting pushed and probed by other kids in the school because they didn't understand. You know? And she would come home and she'd be so upset about it that she said, I just want to take it out so she can fit in a little better. You know? And it's a very difficult line where it is you say, no, you have to be strong and independent, but then also say, okay, we're going to help you get through this. This is what it is you want to do. This is the decision that you're making now. And hopefully you still channel some learning and some understanding that, hey, because you're different, that doesn't mean that it's wrong and you should just change and conform to the norm. You should be who you are and recognize who you are from a young age and nurture yourself and continue to grow yourself. But we have to also empower them to be that way.
Of course.
Especially our young women.
I like something that you say, fit in.
Yeah.
And this is why I was asking the question, because it's so commonplace now.
Yep.
You know, the BBL culture. Is it that people are then doing it to fit in?
Yeah.
Because if you're not confident within yourself, because every time, you know, what you talk about and what our other guests talk about is confidence.
Yeah.
And that confidence comes from your environment. You understand? And not everybody would have the right environment to have that level of confidence.
Yeah.
You understand? And therefore, you know, we find ourselves in situations where we have those vulnerabilities and we're not confident in ourselves. And therefore, when we see what is considered as the norm, we then think, well, you know what? We need to fit in. You know, whether it is by force or whether it is by choice. Because some women with not big bums would feel like they need to fit in because it's the in thing. You know, when it goes out of fashion, then what's going to happen? You know, because everything is cyclical, you know, it's all a cycle. You know, and what is in fashion now ain't gonna be
Batman
fashion.
soon come back in, yeah.
Yeah, big belly soon come back. I mean, when Mac Finger from Barbados sang about Big Belly Man, I ain't dancing with no big belly man. You know, all the big belly man did like themselves because women was winding up on Big Belly Man. You know, and so Big Belly Man will come back in fashion and so influential. They go be batting.
So there's hope for me still then. There's hope for me still.
Of course, all the girls them they go be
rub my
like,
belly.
You remember when the hairstyle you had was in fashion Gala Rush Me? You know, when everybody did like the Gala Rush Me and they was going fit. You understand?
Really, I'm making her rub my belly in the next fit.
I can't remember when last time somebody said Gala Rush
What do you mean? Gala Rush Me was here.
I don't know what Gala Rush Me right now.
That is a whole circle song with Gala Rush Me, you know. That tune and that haircut, trust me, that was the way forward in my generation. If you had a Gala Rush Me, you win, you're safe. Everything is okay for you. If it is a high top in our generation, like back in them days, if you had the Fido Dido, you're good.
Yeah,
you understand me? If you had the side tail, you're good. Anything else, if you had a bowl cut, no, something wrong with you. No, you can't have a bowl cut. You can't have a bowl cut. Don't do that.
Doubles your salt then, boy.
Sadness. But my final point is this. We as a community, we condone it. We condone it in a sense of, if your friends, like girlfriends will talk, yeah, I'm gonna go and get this done or get that done. You understand, man? Like if one of my girlfriends message me and she's like, boy, I'm thinking, I feel I'm gonna just get some better breasts or whatever. I say, well, you know what? Don't ask for my affirmation because I'm not giving it to you. Straight. Because you're good as you are. If you want to make that decision for yourself, you have to first ask your question, why? Why are you doing it? Is it to get gratification for within yourself? Do you not feel secure within yourself? Or are you doing it because you're seeing your cousin did it, your two other friends did it, so all you want to be a gang? It's a gang of better boobs just rolling down the street now. You understand? There should be that straightforward talking about it as well. Like, say straight no. Say no. What you doing? No, you're good just the way you are. But the problem is that all you hard of hearing, all you don't like to hear that side. All you just feel, nah, you just ain't taking me on now. You just want to just push it under the carpet when the reality is we telling only the truth. We just be telling only the truth, and then all of us want to be like, nah, I feel he just saying that because, he just saying that, you'll have to take us on sometimes. Like literally, we can't win. It's not a matter of winning, Paddy. We will never win. But what we can do is when it is we say it exactly as it is, we can sit down in the corner, and when they come and complain on either side of the fence, because it will happen. The complaints will come in. We will sit down there and be like, within ourselves, hey, watch me, I tell you the truth, No, you want me to lie to you. What are you supposed to do there now?
I know the worst thing is, when they get this BBL, the bottom don't even make sense.
It's lopsided.
It don't jiggle like it used to. The
you walk
costume
around
don't
trying
look
to figure out
any
which one
better.
is left, which one is right.
Your
If the
belly
hamstring
look
going
like
up, if the hamstring going up in the bam bam, I don't know.
So when I come to cuddle you and I hold in you close, I'm feeling, rather than feeling natural body and goodness and the mercies and the blessings of eating a nice Caribbean meal, I feel in my iron board. Why would I want
to silicone? It's silicone feeling.
A feeling. Is like are you wearing a bulletproof vest? What is going on? What is this madness?
So wait, influential. So are you talking from personal experience that you had?
No, I'm talking from a very worried imagination.
Oh no, I mean, no, we wanted real, so we want people to have personal experience.
No,
you
have never
personal experience.
Well, the personal experience should be most with women who've done their boobs.
No, but yeah, so you
yeah, personal experience. Yeah.
It didn't feel natural.
No, you know the difference. You know the difference. If it is you're well versed, you're gonna know the difference. If it is, it's probably your first or second boobs, then you wouldn't know the difference. But if it is you've had a,
where it going?
Been around the block, kind of like,
yeah,
you're gonna know. You will just know,
you have any personal experience? Can you tell the difference? Mr.
No, I'm not.
I like that motion.
You can't. No, as in you can't tell the difference or no.
No.
If it is, you realize like one nipple left and then one nipple up, then you know.
Wait. It's a woman who have no. You can't know like that.
No,
it's a woman who have different.
Or you finding one nipple up still. Why? Hold on. Why the nipple at eye level? Why she's so taller than you? You tall, So if she
I'm not tall. So my perspective is always so.
Oh God!
I have a question for the fellas. I have a question for you all. So we spoke about in this topic about women's bodies, particularly Black women's bodies, and it being hypersexualized. Now, that's not to say that Black men are not also hypersexualized when it comes to the BBC. Now, for those of all of us, may go on Pornhub,
if you ever say it,
right? And you go and have a look and thing, and you see it's normally black men with white women and stuff. And when I was talking to Naomi earlier this week, I was talking about during Black Lives Matter, you saw some white women up saying, I take black thing, so you need to listen to what I say, and I love black, so Black Lives Matter. And a lot of black men were very happy with that. And when you hear that, this whole narrative of black men having the BBC and thing, and they're like, yeah, yeah, all the chocolate love and all that kind of thing like that, they are very okay with being hypersexualized also, and that a black man's value ends, or is the extent of a black man's value is his BBC, right? And us women know not all black men have a BBC, okay? There are all shapes and sizes. That's a lie. So,
Oh God!
Sometimes you have to pay for the BBC. You have to pay for the BBC too, you know. You have to pay for the BBC too.
We
Now,
have the
currently,
we have the president sitting here with us, Fiona, of the Small Prick Association. And just continue with your regular scheduled story.
So
That is an actual
so
association.
currently there. So, but
Is that an actual? I am paused. Sorry, Fiona.
wait, you didn't know about that?
Oh, I don't know about that girl. I don't know about that thing. That's a trick question.
Sorry, I just had to throw that in there. I'm being devil's advocate. Sorry.
I can't see. Bring it closer. What? Small penises matter. Yes, you're right. You're right.
Small
but
penis matter. He is. That's what I'm saying. He is the president of the Small Prick Association. You understand? So he could identify because he doesn't have a BBC.
Okay, so here that it's currently not possible, medically possible, for men to do endowment.
That's not true. It is. I done my research. It just costs too much.
It has cost too much? I thought you couldn't do it. Okay, all right.
It's 10,000.
Say it becomes affordable.
Indian guys just do it most. Super training
Is
cousin
it 10,000 US or pounds?
Well, I saw it in pounds,
Yeah.
10,000 pounds.
Wow.
They take the fat out of somewhere and then put it there, and then but then after a while, your
Yeah, but
erection
fat will
goes.
get hard.
So it affects the erection as well. It works.
After a while, yeah.
After a while, yeah.
After a while, that's why you don't do it. That's why you better do it the Haitian way and get a little special ointment and you just rub it on yourself after a while.
Black
and then
eventually-
Black.
But for
The
men
larger than life.
who are quite small, they had to do that for like about 10, 20 years before they see any difference.
Wow.
You're hurtful, Giselle.
Remember, the purpose of penis is to project life into the woman's beautiful sanctuary. It's not to
Of
just
course,
pleasure
but
you.
if it's very small, it ain't reaching no way because I mean,
You don't need to
Right
reach
now,
to it.
Marianne from Santana vexed you right now,
well
Giselle.
powerful to reach anywhere.
Marianne from
Hello.
Santana vexed you right now, Giselle. Yeah.
Okay, so here that men, if there was an affordable,
No, I'm not doing
accessible
it.
surgery, would you not?
No, because I'm
you know-
afraid that when I do it, when I need it the most, it's not gonna do what it needs to do.
No, but say it works. Say it's like foolproof. It working.
We're not
No,
saying if. We're not dealing with no if. We're dealing with reality. The reality is it is not going to work.
okay.
Because when you're ready for give birth, you'll have the biggest hood and it's stiff so and it's shooting. Nothing happening. You're not giving woman anything of living substance. The sperm's not swimming.
Okay.
They're
So,
dying.
all right.
before they reach.
Okay, aside from fertility issues, in terms of the narrative of the BBC and in terms of how the outside world see black men as, you know, the top ones to have sex with because of the BBC, are you comfortable? Are you okay with this narrative? In the same way how black women's bodies are being
Doubles
appropriated
is your
to
time
be.
to answer. I will go last.
Double, you respond,
Why
I
you
go
going
respond double. You first, then I go out. Yeah, you go ahead.
What's the question again?
Okay, so say like we're saying about how black women's bodies are hypersexualized and are being appropriated, and now it's adding pressure, right? But black men are also hypersexualized, like especially by white women, by having the BBC and this, and when you all over the place. Are you comfortable with this narrative? Are you okay with, because from my experience, conversations with my Black male counterparts, they are very happy with this narrative in terms of
it's an
portraying
honor.
themselves as, you know, the sexual connoisseurs of the world, of having the biggest penises in the world, of being the best lovers in the world, of being the ones to gratify all races of women, especially white women, in the best way. Are you happy with this narrative?
Yes, there's nothing negative about that. It's all positive.
And would you say that the hypersexualization of Black women's body is not the same thing? Is it not seen as a positive attribute? So why is it negative for women and positive for men?
Who said it was negative for women?
Well, this is what the discussion has been about in terms of the perception and
women do. Women said it's negative for women.
You said it's negative. Huh?
Yes, women.
No, but I'm saying, okay. I can't answer for women. I can answer for men. And I can say for men, I think most men would agree that it's positive, isn't it? It's not negative that we're looked on in that way. It's a good thing. For women, I don't know for women. I can't answer.
Okay, let me rephrase. Yeah. Are you okay with that? You are looked on in that way, and that is the extent of your value. You're only valued for that and nothing more. Are you okay with that narrative? That's what I'm asking. So in looking at, especially like with Black Lives Matter, and when white women felt comfortable in taking the time to get their cardboard and their paint and their markers and think, what's the best thing I could say to talk about Black Lives Matter? Oh, I love BBC. Those so Black Lives Matter. And Black men were very happy with that narrative. This is what I'm asking. Are you okay with that being the extent of your value? In the same aspect of how the extent of Black women's value being her ass and her full lips in terms of sexual gratification. Are you okay? Are you comfortable with being the extent of your? That's what I asked.
You know what? To be honest, it's not everybody that thinks like that. So if there's a few white women holding up signs saying that, it's up to them. It's do you know what I mean? It's just their personal preference. It makes no difference to my life. So it doesn't bother me personally. It doesn't bother me.
The white women throwing up signs they're just a small example, but in terms of this is a narrative that exists globally, right? In terms of that. And to me it seemed like you're good with that. Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. It just doesn't bother me.
Don't say y'all. Double
I asked, that's why I'm asking y'all.
Doubles is good. It's doubles talking now. Doubles can speak for himself. Then it's Trini Vibes next. Trini Vibes might like it too.
It don't make no difference to my life. It makes no difference to my life. If that's what they want to do, it's up to them. It makes no difference to my life. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. That's all I've got to say. It doesn't
Trini Vibes, you're next. Come, let's keep it.
Go on, Trini.
Hey, hear this, I'll give all the experience. And this was literally last year. I coming off a boat on the pier, and out of the blue, this Caucasian woman just walked up to me, and she literally said to my face, she says, "Oh, you're so tall." And I'm looking up because she's looking up. She says, "Oh, you're so tall. I will have you in a minute because I know what it is you're going to give to me." And I was like, I literally said so. I say, I literally turned and I wanted to call my mother one time and say, "Mommy," you know. But it's sometimes like for me personally, because I'm a tall guy, you know. Naturally, women just be like, "Oh, you're so tall," you know. So everything should fit the bill, you know. But it sometimes can be quite offensive, you know. To be very honest with you, it is sometimes quite offensive the way, because you see me how this woman don't like a man. Some women do like it. See me how some women don't like a man that's so forward and would say things in a crass way. Is the exact same thing where, for me personally, if you come across like that. I called my mother. I asked my mother to pray for me one time because I can't deal with that.
She was call she to come down the road and slap up whoever it is.
Yeah, no slap up, but it's just that because you know that's the mentality of how some people would speak, you know.
But how did that make you feel?
How did it make me feel? Well, it didn't make me feel like a bite of shilling in a 25-cent party. It didn't make me feel like if I was wanted because one, she was under the influence of alcohol, right? So right then and there, I know that your inhibitions miles away. Like you're not your whole self. So a normal maybe would be like, oh, all right, let me go. You understand? Or whatever. But for me, I just can't. I wouldn't entertain it like that. You know, I would just laugh it off.
Did you feel devalued? Because all she saw was your height and was sexually aroused.
Yeah. Did I feel devalued?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't change anything with me personally. It just showed me who a part of who she was.
But black girls do the same thing though. Black girls do the same
exactly,
thing.
Yeah, this exactly. You know, and the thing about it is that you're always in that tough position, you know, where guys are concerned, you're always in a tough position of where it is if a woman comes on really strong, you have to really like stop and think, how do I proceed? You understand? But if the situation is reversed or put on the other side, women tend to feel offended, you know, more often than not.
And not only offended, we also feel unsafe.
Yeah, or they feel unsafe, you know. But for me as a guy, but for me as a guy, if it is okay, I have so many experience with this kind of madness. I'll give you an experience. I'll be walking through a fence, and you'll feel somebody grab you. What are you supposed to do?
That's wrong. Yeah. No.
I feeling attacked.
No. But the thing about it is like Fiona and her whole crew, I know when they come for me, they're coming for me. You understand me? But I talking about they will show themselves. I know who they are. You understand? But when you're walking through the crowd and somebody touch you and you don't even know and you're looking around, you're like, so who just touched me there? You understand me? Yeah. You have to literally stop and think, boy, this is not a safe place. I going upstairs, yes? I going where I can see people passing in front of me. Or I stand up on the wall. So everybody in front of me. You know? And it's something that we don't really talk about. You know?
So then when you say it doesn't affect you and you say it doesn't matter to you either way, it does.
No, it does. No, 100%, you know, because it has this thing of you are just looked upon as meat, you know. And meat. When Fiona, when you know, it's a tall thing, you know, we're gonna try and hunt you and bring you down, you know, that kind of thing. But the exact same way where it is Fiona was trying to put it on the woman's side, in a lot of ways, you all have it's a totally different thing, you know, in some ways, because when a man speaks to a woman in a derogatory way about her body or whatever, she could even raise such a fuss where everybody and the dog hear about it, or she will just zone you out completely. But she would still internalize it, but she has the ability to do both. Now, we, on the other hand, we don't know which way is up, you know, because it's not something that we commonly deal with. Women naturally are sought after by men. That's just how it is. But when the situation is reversed, or, you know, the other way around, we literally just be like a kite that that the string get cut. We just in the air and we like.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a really good point, because how are men supposed to act in a situation like that? Because if it is that a man, like exactly like in your case, you know, if a woman physically, you know, touches you, if for anybody, your first natural instinct will be to, you know, to retaliate. And as a man, if you do that, the consequences of that is going to be different for you as a man doing that as to a woman doing that to a man. You understand? Or to a woman doing it to another woman, or a man doing it to another man. You understand? So that's something that we need to talk about, and we need to unpick. And I think that's a topic for another show. I just have to bring us into a close because we have severely overrun our show today.
That's my fault because I was late. It's my fault. It's my fault. I go to be
Yeah, we go blame you. We blame you.
blame me, right?
You know?
Call my name.
But I just, before we go, so we are going to keep this to 10 minutes because it is 10 to midnight. And I just don't want to cut off the show because we have a new segment called Who Vex Loss. So if we could take the last 5 minutes, I'm going to go over by 5 minutes, just for us to talk about the meme culture. And I don't want us to go into a big, long discussion, but we're looking at around the meme culture. And you know, the question is around, do you think it is biased towards women? And if so, why? Because
you might want to start with Double on this one because he's very passionate about the topic.
I'll go to Double, and I want to
One Double
as well because Loudmouth started off Loudmouth and then she get quiet. So I want to come to her as well before we go. But yes, Mr. Doubles, if you,
I'll be very quick anyway. I'll be very quick. I've just noted more recently that there's been more memes of going around saying that men should act a certain way, men should speak a certain way, men should do this, men should do that, and it's women posting these memes telling men how they feel men should act and how they feel men should speak, but there's not much memes going around telling women how they should act towards men and how they should speak to men. That's what I've noticed more recently. When females are posting stuff, I've actually asked them, like, how come there's no memes the other way around? Like, letting women know how they should act and how they should speak to men. They're saying that they're hard to find. So it is very one way, very, very one way.
So is it that men just not posting enough memes then, or they're sleeping or what?
We don't want a target on our back, madam.
You know what it is? I feel like men appreciate women for who they are. And I feel like women try to turn men into what they want men to be. So a man will meet a woman and appreciate her how she is. He's not going to tell her how she should act towards him, how she should talk to him, what she should say to him. Whereas with women,
for the first 3 months.
Hold on. With women, I think they've got an idea in their head how a man should act. And that's why they make the memes and send them around. They don't want to tell him directly, so they'll just put it on memes and hopefully he'll read it and he'll know it's an indirect message to him by how he should act and how he should speak to her.
You're sounding like you get hurt by some memes, boy.
Babe, come see this, babe. Babe, what do you think about this, babe? Babe, what do you think about this?
Get hurt by some memes. Some memes hurt you, boy.
Me? Nothing can't hurt me, love. Sorry. Not me.
I think.
Remember, nothing affects him.
I think, I don't know. I haven't seen
That's
those
what
memes.
he's saying.
If it's a recent thing, if it's this week or whatever. But I think collectively women are now telling men how to act because women have been told how to act forever. Our mothers, our grandmothers, in terms of we've been paid less, don't wear wig, don't don't have your hair's too nappy, be natural, don't be natural, do this, do that thing, make your ass. If you look at music videos, women are doing the most, Instagram women, split, like you saw in WAP, Cardi B was in a literal split, one leg on one chair, one leg on another chair, and she rapping. And her face is perfect, and she's literally, we're doing acrobatics for y'all fellas. I remember in the pandemic,
we grateful.
I know, well, some of y'all not, because I remember during the pandemic, y'all know, y'all saw they had some lives, and girls come in and strip and do things, whatever, for different lives. And the fellas' faces bored. Girls were pouring milk on themselves. They pouring oil and honey in the shower. They were upside down. They do it, and fellas just there.
Milk on yourself doesn't mean we must like it.
No, I'm not saying that you must like it, but
milk on yourself.
It's just that we've been told to do so much stuff all the time, throughout time. And we've witnessed our mothers, our grannies, our aunties stay with men
It's
who
not the same.
on
It's not
us,
the same
who
though.
beat us,
It's not
who
the
do all
same,
them
is it?
things.
No, it's
And
not the
then
same.
now we just answering back because we now feel we have this
you've gone
empowerment
off track.
and we have a
You've gone off
voice.
track.
I agree.
Totally different.
You men are very
Totally
difficult
different.
to talk to in certain aspects, right?
Yeah.
So the only way that we feel like you guys can communicate is by having memes and throwing up memes in certain times.
But that's what I said. It's indirect. It's indirect.
Yeah, but you said that something about women. You like a woman for who she is, and that's not true, because a man will get with a woman at a soca fete while she's in her costume, and they like it at that moment. When it's November month, so she's got that same costume, they don't like it no more. And they want you to change. They don't want you to play master no more. But how you met her is not the way that you want her to be anymore. So you got with somebody and then you want to change them. And that happens a lot from men.
I agree with you. Some men do that. Yeah, some men do
a lot
that.
of them do.
Yeah.
So women, we feel like to a certain extent, we're not able to express ourselves in the way that we want to, especially as Black women, because then we're told we're aggressive. We told that we're this and we don't know how to communicate. And there's all these things. So if I come to you as my man and I want to tell you something that's affected me, you're going to tell me, you're probably on your period, or you're just being aggressive, or so I can't communicate that with you as my man. So that's why we have memes and things to go to, because that's where we feel that that's our safe space. It might sound stupid, but that's something that we seem to use to work.
Wow. And that's when they just get the most vexed, you know. You friend talk for me. You put it on
them memes. Them memes.
That's for your friends. Hey. And then even burn you. As you say, who vex lose, you know.
Exactly.
But
I sent you a text saying
that's
the same
really
thing,
who
really
vex
paying you
us.
attention.
This is a whole new thing.
But
I'm
the thing is,
watching with interest.
Yeah, but the thing is, right?
True. Sorry, let me just say, if I send you a message as my man, you're gonna ignore it. But if I put it as a meme and you know that your friends are going to see it as well, you're going to come for me and say something that you saw it.
Don't send a message. Come and talk to me face to face. Come and say, hey, darling, here's what's going on, eh? I feel like we need to refine the way it is we communicate in here, because I'm saying something here, but you're not really taking it on, you know? Don't send a message. That we always hide behind a message. We always hiding behind WhatsApp, Facebook, Insta, or we'll send, I'm just gonna send this meme I find on Instagram. I'm gonna forward it to him. And then if he don't respond, he may be in two minds, like how it is the Caribbean saying, if you're not saying here, what are you trying to say to me there? Or when this is here, wait until they come home. And he could confront you. He'll be like, what kind of foolishness is that you're sending me there? You're talking to me?
I just feel that sometimes you guys don't make it very easy for us to communicate and have that open space. And sometimes you have to understand how, if I can still be your woman, but I can still feel a certain way of coming to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
And that is the way that Black men don't always want to communicate with us, because as I said, they put us in the space of, you're this, or you're just being moany, or you're just on my case or whatever. You're not actually paying attention. So the way, because we don't feel safe in that, that's why we go to the memes. So it's not a thing of the memes that's a problem. Sometimes you men have to sit there and check yourselves and say, how am I being, open enough?
That's where you try to grow in the relationship. If it is you want to grow and get to the next level in your relationship, and that's one of the main things that's causing a problem, you have to then ask yourself the question first, hey, will me and my partner be able to grow from a conversation about this? Right, but not a conversation via WhatsApp or whatever, or something that's somebody else has written and you want to just give it to him. You have that conversation because it's going to be a growing pain for you and your relationship. So we can all say, no, I can't talk to you. Every time I try to talk to you is a problem. You got to know the person that you're with. And in order to know the person you're with, it comes to those hard things, where it is you literally just say, hey, here we're going on there. This is how I feel. If it turns into an argument and the relationship separates from that, at least you know that you try to do it the right way, as opposed to trying to sugarcoat it. Because we try to sugarcoat everything. You understand me? And we don't like to pull off the band-aid. And we don't, we don't like to pull off the band-aid.
Like to hurt people's feelings. We've got that.
You have to, in order to grow, you must hurt somebody's feelings.
Oh, of course.
Something must get hurt. In order to grow and to feel that growth, you must feel some kind of disappointment or hurt.
Birth comes from pain.
Yeah.
All right.
I just feel sometimes sometimes as a community, sometimes I know that I've grown up in, people will say, oh, strong, independent Black women. And I've realized I don't want to be that anymore. And I say that to you men as well, that sometimes you have to sit there and say, am I being in the best place for my woman? Is this what I'm giving up? Because you lot will say that Black women are hard to deal with and that's why you date white women. But all we're trying to do is communicate with you about things that we're not happy with. But it's the things that sometimes
I have never have I ever.
Take
Never
you get
have I
whiplash
ever.
up there. No?
Guys, oh my goodness.
It's time
this
to
has
to
been-
wrap up because
It's
you're
time
gonna
to wrap up.
Can I
I said I
just
wasn't
say,
being
right?
loud anymore, so I come. I wake up.
Time.
Can I just say on the memes,
Quickly.
yeah?
Yes.
That is for all these centuries and all this shit Ollie was doing. That is what they get. All have to take that
Lisa,
little
Lisa,
rock and cool on
Lisa.
yourself.
Lisa,
And who vex
Lisa.
lost?
Cool and who vex? Lost.
Lost.
And just
Lisa.
further, I
Lisa.
can interject for 1 second as well. Is everyone aware of what's his name? Justin LeBoy on Instagram.
No, who is he?
You know who does
Follow
memes
him.
as well?
Respectfully.
Well,
Who-
he's the king of memes.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
guy
He
on
talks on
Facebook,
both-
Anil.
He talks on
Play
behalf
with
of
Just
both
Vibes.
sexes.
Anil.
okay.
Anil is king of memes. Anil always put memes on Facebook.
Yes.
I will put disturbing
That's the
memes
people
on.
I
I
know
don't
that do
worry about it.
His memes are triggering. I ain't gonna lie. For you,
I
men.
But
love
what
it.
does it trigger though? It triggers conversation. That's all it should
does
trigger.
trigger conversation.
It
It
triggers
should- that's all it
self-awareness.
should- It shouldn't trigger a woman wanting to burn up a man car. It shouldn't trigger that.
Why not? Why not?
Because that is
That's always a
irrational.
trigger.
Again, if people are mentally unstable, it could trigger
That
that.
is irrational.
That's always a trigger.
No, stop
I
it.
just
Stop
want
it.
to do a quick round robin in terms of wrapping up the Who Vex Law segment. Have you, what is your stance? Do you think it's more biased towards women? Have you changed, your mind, or you stick with your original thought that it is more biased towards women, the meme culture? Quickly, I just want yes or no from everybody. Karen, Super Trini.
Watch, with how it is Lee Loudmouth put it, I would say, yeah, real bias. Real bias.
Take
Bias.
my name out your mouth. Take my name out your mouth.
Too late for that.
Kelly,
It's
what's
real
the-
I
bias.
communicated that. I didn't send a meme
And-
for that. I told you
And
straight up.
Lisa as well. Well, Lisa with she hundreds of thousands
Lisa,
of
mute
years
him,
of
mute him.
hate, all kind of thing. Yes, it bias.
Right. Okay. Kelly.
Yeah, it is bias. I don't
Right.
care.
Yeah.
You have things to say.
Mr. Doubles.
Bias.
Fiona.
I wouldn't say bias. I would say that women are more articulate
Thank you. We know
in
to say what we need to say.
expressing how they feel.
You take the words out of my mouth.
Okay, that's what it is. We are more articulate
'Cause
in
we know what to
expressing
say,
our
what we need to say.
feelings.
Right. Influential.
It's equal. It can trigger both men and women, so it's biased towards both.
Nice.
Nice.
Depends on the day
Lisa.
and the
So
topic.
influential, you gotta choose
I
one.
think
You gotta
I gotta
choose
choose
one.
one?
for
Yeah, because
Okay.
this segment you have to choose one.
Okay, then no, it's no.
No. Okay.
So it's
No.
not biased. Okay.
Not biased.
Lisa.
I think it's similar to where if men have a lot of women, they call studs, and if women have a lot of men, they call hoes.
Mhm.
It's one of them things where it's in favor of women.
Right. Nine.
You better speak the truth, eh? Because I have files. Speak the truth in an eye.
I would say it represents us women in terms of facts based on what you men have put us through. So it's based on reality. Sorry, guys.
Everybody's
That's so
entitled to their
political.
opinion.
That is
So.
so political. So political.
You guys do the most. You guys do the most in
Well,
in
so
every
wait.
and you
But this
don't
is
communicate.
but this is the
there's memes.
thing. But this is the
Let's
thing. You're saying that
communicate.
we let's do the most, right? But all let's do the most too. It's just that we don't hit all as hard as all hit we. Like all hit we.
That's right. I
As
just
Fiona
see
said,
some
we
hand
know how we more articulate with words. We just fight with our words, or let us fight with all
Yeah,
our
that's right.
strength.
We see the difference. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone that has tuned in today, this evening, tonight, this morning, wherever you are, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Slayers Hot Sauce, where we were talking about BBLs, body dysmorphia. God, we touched on so many things, cancel culture. What else we were talking about tonight? We were talking about fake outrage, anything and everything to do with what's happening. So we thank you so much to everybody on the panel. My guest panelists tonight: Lisa, so influential, Noya Caribbean, Fiona, Mr. Doubles, Kaylee Loudmouth, and of course Super Trinity Vibes and the boss lady herself, live from Carnival Slayers. I am your host, your girl Giselle, aka Jizzy. Thank you so much. Don't forget to go and check out Glow Dazzle Cosmetics on Instagram. And we will see you here again for another show. I hope that you enjoyed. We hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you again to everybody. And it's goodbye from us. Take care.
Bye,
everyone.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Good night.
Morning. It's morning in truth, you know. It's morning in truth. Loudmouth, bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Go away. Good night. Go to your bed.
Bye.
That's a big man, right? I'm going to eat. I need yet. I'm going to eat first.
I'm going to share a meme and tag you in it.